Of course. Oh, it's so good. My brother-in-law says, "Of course, Jigglypuff found its camera. It's looking right at us." I did specifically angle Jigglypuff to look at the camera as much as possible. I angled everyone a little bit towards camera, but Jigglypuff kind of needed that straight line of sight. Anyway, hello, land lovers. It's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. God, that gesture doesn't read so well. I'm very close to the wall. I feel like when I'm playing, I might settle over there, but I'm like afraid I'll like never get back over. Also, like it's just a little hard to see everything. Whatever. We're somewhere. We exist. How's everyone doing? I have been through a lot since you last saw. It's been like a full month. Wasn't it roughly the somethingth of July when we did the last LA stream? God, it has been. July was undoubtedly the absolute worst month of my life. It was so bad. Now, granted, the start of August was a little hit or miss. We're doing a lot better now. But boy, oh boy, July was the worst. Basically, I made some allusion to this on the Discord, but like, I have lost a tremendous amount of faith in the ability of professional adults in really key industries to do their jobs. Basically, every person I interacted with between the very start of the like mortgage process to literally yesterday has nearly outright sabotaged my hopes of buying a house with the sufficient money and credit to do so. So like, yeah, real frustrated with humans. One of those things that really has you question the like weird generational divide between, you know, boomers and Gen X and millennials and all that stuff that like normally I think we're all hyping for the sake of memes, but like after that I'm like, I don't know, maybe I just like hate people. By the way, we can't actually hear the air like you think we can. Um, it wasn't the air I was concerned about hearing. When I made the observation you might be able to hear that, it was the sound of me closing the door. It felt really loud in here, and the microphone was angled such that I thought it would pick it up. There have been some earthquakes in California, huh? Yeah. Discovered the competency crisis. That feels like a really generous way of putting it. This is awful. It's so bad. Like and I mean like it kind of reminds me of like a long time ago when I was still in college. My brother and I attended the same college in Boston. At the time, my family was living in Pennsylvania. And so there was like a Thanksgiving, I think, where we decided to fly, which was unusual because I like taking the train. It takes like forever, but like was cheaper. And I think now it's like more expensive and longer. I don't know when that flip happened, but obviously that's terrible. But like we had like kind of a rough flight and like people were getting nervous or whatever and we landed and they're like, well, it was a rough flight, but we made it. And like that was like more or less the sentiment that like all of the people at the bank that I have a mortgage with like came at me with at the end of the process. I'm like, y'all, that's like your fault. You understand that when the pilot was in a comparable situation, he did not control the weather. But y'all have a business where you control the money and can not be terrible. And yet you choose violence. And somehow that's my fault? I don't understand. Welcome, Keaton, and thank you for the demolition, a 6-month gift sub to Keen, as well as Anime's resub before. I don't think I missed you just because I was rambling. 84 months. How have I been? Honestly, like pretty good. Just like it's been such a chaotic time for me because you probably know that I hate everything. If you watch the stream, that's like presumably what you're here for. And like truly, like no exaggeration, July was absolutely the worst month of my life. Just like everything was bad all the time. And like I said, like it took a while for like August to get on track too, but like I'm doing good. I got air conditioning. I can like work from here. They buried the cable to my house today. So I had arranged to get internet installed in the house before the final purchase went through and I moved in so that I could like work here like day one. I've been working like the whole time, man. I took like one day off because I had to, but I've been like working all throughout this from like hotel rooms and a house without water and like just the circumstances have not been great. Um, but like, yeah, so because I wasn't here for the install, when I like finally closed on the house and like came to get the keys and do the stuff that like a homeowner does, um, my real estate agent, who was supposed to oversee that, pulls up and gets out of her car and is like, "Huh, looks like they just sort of left the internet line here, just like on the ground." I'm like, "Well, you were like supposed to be there. Shouldn't you already know that and have some information about that?" And she's like, "Well, I just sort of remotely told the install guy what like the real estate lockbox code number was so that they could access the house with no one supervising them." I'm like, "Oh, that's like a insane thing to do. Thanks for not doing the job you agreed to that I asked of you. That's cool." But like, yeah, as a result of that, for the entire time that I've owned this house, there's been like a big cable stretching from a box buried under my neighbor's property, all the way across my front yard and over to the side of my house. Um, and that was concerning because we had like movers to come in and some contractors to do stuff, and there were more contractors. But like the whole time that was going on, and like at a certain point, like days had passed, and I'd been given none information from the internet service provider. So I like called them and I was like, "Hey, you all just like left a big like a exposed cable, and there's like a hurricane sort of happening right now, and there's like weather in Florida and stuff like that. So like, are you like have plans to like deal with that? Like that's not gonna sit there, right?" And they were like, "Oh, like normally that happens like after a while." And I'm like, "After a while is not precise. Like, you not have a timetable to address that?" And they were like, "Well, we'll send someone out, like to I forget how far off it was, like a day or two." They were just like, "Oh, we'll send someone out," and they gave me a date. And then like that happened to be the same day that the movers ended up coming. They also got delayed because of the hurricane that hit here. And so like while movers are like roughly handling all of my possessions, like a dude just comes up to my door and is like, "Hey, yeah, I'm like from the internet service provider." And yeah, like you have an appointment. I was like, "Yeah, like I need someone to bury this cable because it's like lunatic behavior to have like an exposed cable out for like over a week or whatever. Like, so you're gonna address that, right?" And then he just sort of like wanders off, and like I point him to the direction of like the box that's supposed to be on my property for the purpose of accessing the fiber internet. And uh, he like takes a look at it and he assesses that like we can't use that, which must be why the first guy who came out like connected to my neighbor's property, whatever. I'm like, fine. And he's like, "Yeah, so like someone's gonna have to come out and bury this." I'm like, that is your actual whole entire purpose for being here, is that you are supposed to be doing that. And he's like, "Well, I don't know if they put in a job for that already, but like I'll make sure they put in a job for that." And they never gave me an appointment, and like literally today I was starting to worry about it. And randomly I got a knock at my door. I'm like, that's so insane because like I don't actually have a guy scheduled for today. And it turns out it's finally the guy to bury the cable. Um, but like that took, oh my God. So like that took, I mean, 10 days from the time that the second guy showed up. Not like a great system. Oh, fun thing about Florida from my experience so far, and I think my parents who moved cross country along with me, are still able to vouch for this unless they've had an incredibly different experience over the past like 4 days. Um, no person that you like schedule to come to your house for any purpose will come at that time. The majority of them have come early, which is fine in many cases, especially because I work remotely and so I'm here and can be here when they're ready, whatever. But also on a few occasions, they've come dramatically late. Like, oh, here's a fun fact. So I'm told that Florida has the second worst quality of drinking water in the United States, which is a new fact to me that I didn't know. And, you know, that's not ideal for numerous reasons, but it was quite an ordeal actually getting water supplied to my house because it is run through some incredibly small nonprofit organization that literally, as an entire entity, functions for 20 business hours per week. So like half of what like a normal 9 to 5 job would be open is when they're there. And also, you know, they apparently have discretion to leave early for things like a hurricane, evidently. So, you know, like I called them multiple times and then tried applying online, but there were like some things like they wanted an account number, and obviously I didn't have an account number because I just moved here. Um, but like eventually I got them to hook up the water. It was very exciting. And then we'd go to my house to see if the water is on because we'd been staying at a hotel because my parents hadn't closed on their house. And even though I'd closed on mine, it didn't have things like running water. And then when you turn it on, it smells super strongly of like pure methane. And not like exaggerating, not like it's so bad it smells like farts. Like it is literally like there is methane in the water supply. So like that's horrible. Hopefully I don't need to explain to you why that's horrible. It just is. And so as a result, had to get like a special water purifier installed, which my dad very graciously paid for. It is not cheap. Yeah, so here's the thing about that though, is that if you're not familiar with how a water heater works, most like homes and residential areas like apartment buildings have a water heater which has a reservoir of water that it keeps heated so that when people need hot water, it can be drawn on demand. So the cold water supply to my house is now filtered for methane. The hot water is still drawing from a reservoir in the water heater that was, you know, stockpiling from before the water filtration system was put in place. So things like taking a hot shower or washing your hands in warm water still smells strongly of methane. And just so we're clear that I'm not overselling this, because it's not great, the guy who did the installation of the water filtration system does professionally cut into water lines and do some light plumbing to facilitate installing these types of devices. What he does, when he cut into my line, he smelled the resulting supply of methane and was like, wow, that's strong. Someone who routinely deals with the notoriously bad water supply of Florida was like, wow, your house is noteworthily bad. Nothing like a good fart bat. I gotta tell you, I was pretty concerned about like getting nauseous from taking a shower with the fart water. That has not actually occurred, although I do typically feel just like, I don't know, like a sore throat, kind of like a light sore throat kind of inflammation sensation after the showers. Really looking forward to cycling through the seemingly endless supply of water from the water heater. I've been ignoring chat for like a really long time because I wanted to talk about like all the things. Sister had said took over a year to get mediation scheduled with her HOA, which was supposed to legally happen within 90 days. Yeah, this genuinely confuses the crap out of me regarding the US legal system. Is like it's supposed to be like built into the verbiage that like everyone, has the right to like a speedy trial and whatever, but like in some cases that's like years. It's like I just feel like that's a disingenuous description at that point. Uh Neko, hi Neko. Neko had asked, now you're there, have you become the fabled Florida man? I feel like Florida man is inside all of us, and he busts out when the moon is full or something in Florida. Unclear. Did the guy who came to bury the cable actually bury the cable? I mean, presumably my earlier story answered that, but it is actually a reasonable question, and yes, he did. Um, like honestly, like I was kind of watching him do it, and I don't really understand what he did, which is weird because all he did was bury the cable. But he like replaced the cable because the other one had been exposed to the elements for like almost 20 days at that point, I think, because it was like late July that the installation happened. Yeah, it was out there a while. So he like screwed in a new cable at the junction, and then he like walked it out to his car, and he like walked back along the cable, and then he like reshaped the cable like wide, and then he like seemed to turn over like 3 inches of soil with like a full size shovel, and then like I looked away and the whole job was done. I'm like, I don't. I mean, I can't see it, and he does it professionally. I assume it's done. It's gone now, and I have internet, which I think are the two primary qualifications for the job being done. By the way, I have apple juice. Now, my mom very skillfully got this through Instacart early in our time here, and even pointed out that in the listing it calls it 100% juice apple, which suggests it may be exactly the same thing as apple juice from the California grocery stores. I will report it tastes a little different, so I'm not sure if that's true. But honestly, it might just be so long since I've had 100% juice apple that I've lost my palate for it. It's unclear to me. Yeah, definitely like a wizard cable guy for sure. There's some nice tablets you can buy on Amazon that emit aromatic stuff when they hit shower water. That's kind of an interesting idea. That might be useful in the short term. Yeah, the problem is we just got to cycle through the hot water heater, and then it's probably not a problem. Apparently, though, the reservoir in my water heater is infinite. There's no limit to the water in there or something. I don't know. Have I discovered Publix yet? Yes, I did go to Publix 2 days ago, I think, for the first time. It is where the juice apple came from, among other things. But the most exciting revelation of that trip is that they have the Pennsylvania based snack cakes that I love that I haven't been. So there's a company based in Pennsylvania where I grew up called Tasty Cake. And they just make sort of treats, they're like little Debbie's if you're familiar with them. It's a similar kind of thing, but it's kind of regional. There was exactly 1 week in the fall of some year when I lived in California where the local grocery store, the Ralph's, had like a whole like case of my favorite thing that they make, which are called peanut butter candy cakes, which is basically just like a little bit of sponge cake, a layer of peanut butter, and it's covered in chocolate. And it's somehow not very many calories despite having the ingredients of a Reese's cup and also a little bit of cake. Is probably like the worst thing you can ingest, but that's not gonna stop me. But like when they had them that 1 week, I bought like 6 boxes from the Ralphs and they were never seen again. I was like, maybe they're finally importing them here. I can't imagine a reason why suddenly this regional like northeastern delicacy has appeared in my California grocery store. They were like, nah, it's a weird prank where you get what you want, but only for like as many weeks as you're willing to spend all at once. And I was like, it's better than nothing. But I was just like scoping around the grocery store, and even though we're not in the Northeast, you know what they got? Peanut butter candy cakes. And I've had like 8 of them or something already. And that was Wednesday. Let's not talk anymore about it. You must have this. They're real. I genuinely do recommend them. They're like super good. They're like not heavy. They're not very many calories, but like if you like the ingredients of like white cake and Reese's cup, like it's all there, man. It's like the best. I like literally lived off those in middle school. Like almost literally. We could talk about that some other time. There's enough embarrassing stuff going on right now. But why Ralph Snow respond to bulk buying with reorder? I know, right? Like, genuinely, that's my thought. Is like, if I buy like a bunch of these, they'll realize that they're popular and they should keep stocking them. And like, nah, I don't know. I think we forgot how capitalism works in America. Nothing on earth is as tasty as a tasty cake. Is that like literally a commercial? I don't think I've ever seen a commercial for tasty cakes. They just exist in grocery stores. We did get my dad's 70th birthday cake from Publix. It was pretty good. Oh, he's still eating it? That's pretty good. It's the old jingle. I've never heard that. That's so wild to me. How are you all doing? It's been a month. Everyone tell me a fun fact about your last month. I'm very glad I chose just chatting as the default stream category. I wasn't sure if we would game today. We got some options on deck. I mostly discussed them on Discord. Things that are already on the computer and known to be streamable with reasonable audio settings saved to them are available. It is exciting to like this. I don't know what to do with this. The lighting is the biggest problem. It feels weird to me to have the microphone like right here, but realistically, once I figure out what this room is supposed to look like, I'm probably gonna affix like a fancy old microphone arm to this desk, and then, I'll be like every other streamer you've ever seen, where it's like right in their face. Here's a fun. Hey, trigger warning. I'm gonna yell in a second to prove a point, not because I'm mad for once, but to prove a point. Just like get ready for that, I guess. I did spend, and I mentioned this on the Discord too, like a bunch of time trying to reconfigure the audio settings for this microphone to this space because they were super crazy specifically calibrated to the apartment that was like nonstop noise and the microphone wasn't very close to me. And now, like before it would clip because it's really hard to get that balance right, but now I think I got it so like it doesn't clip unless like a bomb goes off in here. Ah! Like unpleasant, but like this close, that should have like ruined everything. Ooh, King says you can buy Tasty Cake online. What's this? That's the one. Peanut butter candy cakes. They come in why is this 2-star rated? What? Hey, hang on. What? This is literally the Tasty Cake website that you've linked me to. And on their own website, peanut butter candy cakes have a 2.2 out of 5-star rating. What is wrong with the earth? I thought I lost faith in humanity from the mortgage process. What is this about? It's like the best thing. It's like the best thing. I want to read some of these reviews. Not the same chocolate coating has changed. Okay. What a waste of money. Shrunken shadow of what they once were. I mean, they are probably smaller. But like, that's just the economy, man. All right, everyone is basically just like nostalgia griping. I don't know how like honestly, I will agree that they're probably a little smaller than they used to be, which probably accounts for the fact that the calorie count is so low. But like they're still really good. And honestly, I think it's nice to have like low calorie treats sometimes. Like I like just grabbing a fork and opening an entire cake and going to town as much as the next Garfield. But like, sometimes I'm trying to be healthy and it's nice to be like, I want a treat that tastes like a Reese's peanut butter cup with cake in it. And I don't want to break the bank. Boom. Tasty Cake. Whatever. I endorse it. 5 out of 5. Maybe I'll actually go on that site and rate it 5 out of 5. It says, fun fact, when I bought a house in Pennsylvania, that's true. That's news that my sister has had over the last month. It cracked a rift in time. I've been headhunted 3 times for new jobs, invited to Disneyland 4 times, been invited to Magic Castle, got our mediation scheduled, and had more people coming through the city and to my place than the last 3 years. You know what's funny about that? A similar sort of thing happened to me. Is once I had committed myself to making this move at the start of this year, when I had like the double rent increase in 2 months, then like more people that had ever visited my apartment in the span of like 2 months. And then like all of the things I ever wanted to do all came to LA in the span of like 7 months. And I did all of them. And there's some insane part of me that has discovered that Sophie Ellis Bextor added an LA tour date in September, and I'm still trying to figure out a way I can do that, and it genuinely makes no sense, but I'm just a glutton for punishment. What other updates do we have from the past month? Echo said, I've been playing Heart Gold again and got the Pokewalker working. Oh, that's exciting. The Pokewalker is such a great idea, but like all peripherals suffer from the thing that like, yeah, the battery will die, and then you're like, oh, I gotta find a new watch battery for my Pokewalker. And the answer is like, probably yeah, to be honest. Demolition did an A+ job for the work department report, and his manager was super stoked. Then learned that she and another employee learned that you can upload more than one thing at a time to a browser. Oh dear. Yeah, that's my assessment too, Neko. Most of these, it seems really punitive to like rate it like 1 star on their website just because like you're mad that the economy's bad. Because listen, you definitely can and should blame like executives for like shrinkflation because they're responsible for that. But part of the reason they're responsible for that is also because the economy is bad. You know, arguably shrinkflation is like a countermeasure to like mass layoffs or something, but like, I don't know, they're all bad. The economy's bad, the world is ruined. Buy a tasty cake. That's my opinion. 4 replacement batteries for £2. That's actually pretty good. Or is that euros? I'm too stupid. I only know dollars, and I only know dollars US, and apply it to all video game currencies equally. That's true. I never have seen my sister's condo, and that is weird. I don't call it appreciating you by shoving in last minute hangouts. I agree. Although one of the main reasons that I had people showing up to my apartment last minute was so that I could go to the S Club concert with like the only person relatively close to my age I've ever known who listens to S Club. So that was fun. Even though it was really embarrassing for someone to be in my cramped apartment at all, it was bad there. I mean, like, I've said this before on stream that, like, I very carefully have always curated the space that you could see on the stream, and mostly everything outside of it was just a nightmare. The house, not true. It is weird that you can see cars driving by right now. Someday I hope to have curtains. The house has been really nice though. Let me just take a moment to appreciate that, because like it's really easy to just infinitely gripe about all of the difficult parts of being a homeowner and how like everyone has been bad and unhelpful and tried to sabotage my life for a while. I do have super good functioning air conditioning. I have a roof that's holding up, and I am actually on the verge of replacing it because it's like a little bit older. And the people who flipped this house for the purpose of selling it to me did it's like a sort of patch job so that my insurance company would insure the house, which is really important to buying it. So like, yeah, that's a big investment, but like with weather in Florida being what it is, I think that will be worthwhile. And, you know, those are 2 things I didn't have going for me at the old apartment, and they were both a big deal. You know what else I have? I have an attached garage, which means that I don't have to, like, park in, like, one of the world's garbageous parking spaces that's, like, covered but not enclosed and still at the mercy of, like, weird people wandering in off the street, which happen more often than anyone would like. No, it's, like, attached to my house, and I can, like... If it's like Florida raining, I can just like bring in groceries or whatever, and like my car is there. It has a place to be, which was a real struggle to find in California. And let me tell you, at the price range that humble me with my mediocre job can afford, even in a state with a much more forgiving economy, like that's a pretty good find. My mom was scoping houses for like I don't like 2 years or something. When my parents like first floated this idea, my mom was just like watching the Florida market like a hawk and occasionally updating me on things. And I'm like, I don't think I should look at a house until I'm ready to buy. And then we came out here in June, some weekend that we missed streams, and we looked at like four houses. One, they had removed all of the hookups so you couldn't have a laundry machine in there, which was a weird thing to do. And also, they put in such dense carpet that you could neither open nor close the closet doors in any room of the place. Additionally, they converted what had been a garage into a weird sunken living room, and it had an exposed like gap that just like housed an entire colony of ants, which isn't great in my opinion, but I can one up that within my own experience looking at houses in Florida, because one of the houses we looked at was possessed by bees. What does that mean? It means that there were so many bees that my assumption is that they're the owners of the house, and any humans who ever owned it are lying to you. We went there with my real estate agent, the one who failed to show up for the internet install that I mentioned earlier. And she like had instructions that were, I forget exactly what it was, but like it indicated where we should look for a lockbox where she could access a key to get us inside to show us the property so we could, decide if I was going to put a bid on it. And when my dad parked the rental car we had on the street, he and I were both sort of like looking at the space between that house and the neighboring house, and his immediate response was like, wow, look at all those gnats. And I'm like, this far away, if we can see them that clearly, I don't think those are gnats. And I was right, because they were bees, and there were a lot of them, and they were angry. They were like based in the bottom of the chimney of that property. There was like a gap leading from the chimney outside. I'm not sure if that's intentional. I'm not really a chimney smith, but there was like a constant cloud of bees there. And the most insane of all the many things that have happened since I've come to Florida is that my mom at one point indicated she had checked up on all the properties we looked at, and there was a really nice one that I had passed on that we all assumed would go like the next day if I didn't put a bid on it. And that one is still up for sale, but the bee house has been sold. And I can't comprehend that for anything, because even approaching that house is insanely dangerous. Yeah, those aren't gnats, they're bees. It's a real, like, that's not an orc horn sort of moment. Also have a hawk doing what nature does. Oh, that's actually an interesting. I saw like a falcon today. It's really interesting observing the wildlife around my house. There are many cats here. There are some snails that are just living an entire snail lifetime on my sliding screen door thing. They're just in a different position every day, but they never leave the screen door. It's weird. It's fine. Doesn't bother me. Just weird. There's a bunch of little lizards. I think they're salamanders. I don't know. A lot of cats. I think they're all strays. It is possible that there may be a family of indoor-outdoor cats that my neighbor has on one side, because like the kittens, the smallest ones, they're always like over on their driveway. So like it kind of makes me think maybe those ones like actually like belong at that property, or maybe they're just super territorial. I don't know. Like right before I started streaming, I saw like four cats like hanging out just like in the middle of the street out there. I think they're about to play some sort of cat game. Either that or like start a dance fight, which is the intersection of the musicals Cats and West Side Story. I'd probably watch it. I have watched the movie musical Cats. It was very bad, but Idris Elba as McCavity is like a core memory for some reason. There are sub-cicada insects. There's like There are definitely things in the cicada family. I don't know what cicada mites are. Those sound troubling. Um, there's one cat in particular that seems to like my house. It likes to nap on like my front porch or by the weird irrigation system that the flippers left here. That is also fine. Um, and and this is interesting. The first like two times I looked at this property, this house, that cat was sleeping like up in the tree in the front yard. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. He's like a little like pirate watching from the crow's nest. I love it. And I've never since seen that or any other cat go up there. And I'm like, were you just having like a fun day there, Mr. Cat? I don't know. The double brood thing makes the cicada mites populate by the billions. That's too big a number. Then they regrow on cicadas or leaves, and then people once the leaves stop. That's all of that has to stop. We need to vote no on measure CM for cicada mites. I don't know if any place other than California does measures with multiple letters. I never understood why that happened in California either. Some of the other cats that like aren't as attached to this property will like scope out my backyard over the course of the day, just making sure everything's all right. There's one I only saw him like one time. It was like the first night that I stayed here overnight. Two of the cats were traveling together in my backyard. One of them is this kind of like ginger cat, seems kind of friendly. And then there was this like kind of mostly black, but like black and white cat. And he was just like he spotted me through like one of my windows and just like was just would not break eye contact. I think that one was I don't know if it was like apparent to the other cat, but like it was like super watching out. It's like don't you mess with orange cat. Don't do it. Don't do it. I am in an anime. It's been an interesting time here. Um there have been some mosquitoes. They backed off considerably once the hurricane passed. But like that was kind of my first experience being in the house was like immediately preceding, during, and immediately following Hurricane Debbie. So like there was a lot of moisture and there was a lot of mosquitoes. And I don't know if you know this, but when you move into a house, there's a lot of things that cause the doors to stay open for a long time, and that lets the bugs in. So like yes, there have been some mosquitoes, but I haven't seen one in many days. Don't mosquitoes have a pretty short lifespan? I think some of the ones that got in may have just like mysteriously died off. I do actually think I spotted one that just died of natural causes in this room when I was setting up the stream computer. It was just like sitting on top of one of my boxes. I was like, oh, well, sorry for your loss, I guess. Mosquitoes don't exist in the UK, thankfully. That is good. I don't like mosquitoes. It's not good for them to be here. Mosquitoes are one of those things that like I have a hard time believing they do anything good for the ecosystem. Like there's things that you maybe don't like that contribute, like bees or I don't know, certain type like spiders sort of can get rid of pest insects or whatever. Um, but like mosquitoes, like I don't get it, man. They just seem like all downside. I got no squawks, no beefs. Like someone appears to have parked outside. It's weird. Anyway, I guess I can keep an eye on that. Not a lot of cars park in this neighborhood. It's interesting. It's a very like quiet, mostly keep to yourself neighborhood. It is simultaneously directly off a major road and yet somehow like completely removed from civilization. It's a really interesting place. Sister says I've been in the most temperate mile of the US for 3 years. I wish we could have made that work. Yeah, there's a lot of. Listen, there are some good things about California. After living there for like 15 years, most of them had run their course, other than Sophie Ellis Bextor going back there. And I don't know. I think I'm just going to mourn the loss of that experience. But I did get to go. We had to drive to San Diego to do it, my parents and I. But that was a really good time. Oh man, is that the real time? I have my work computer set to West Coast time to help me sort of manage the fact that I still technically work out of a West Coast office with slightly adjusted hours. Um, so looking at the computer here, I couldn't remember if I had changed this, which I have. So it is currently 10. What does that translate to? So hang on, I started at 9, so we're like an hour in. Yeah, that tracks. OBS concurs. 72 degrees and sunny like forever. Ah, man, see, where I was at in the valley, even outside where it was often more temperate than inside my apartment, um, it was not that nice. Like, it was usually like over the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years, something like that. I would genuinely say that like the average daily temperature, accounting for both the cold season, some would refer to as winter, and the summer, the actual summer with an increased heat, the average temperature like outside of my apartment building in North Hollywood was probably like 87 and a half degrees or something. Like this year was actually more temperate than the last few, but even this summer, like once summer kicked in, it was like insufferable every single day. I should have come over. Do you realize how much I have to do? I mean, I like work full time and then I stream twice for 3 to 4 hours a day each week, and then I typically spend time editing that, and then also I have like errands and things to like. I don't have free time, not really. I watch like maybe as much as 2 hours of television a day and count myself lucky. I really have no idea how I would ever achieve my life's goal of having a relationship. It genuinely just doesn't make any sense. There was a point in my life where I was like super depressed and leaned into the notion that like you should just like become a whole person on your own and find your own interests. And like I've done that, and like I'm generally pretty happy, I think. Like I've done a lot of work to deal with the depression and some of the other stuff that complicated life for such a long time. And like generally pretty happy, but also like still haven't achieved like essentially my one goal at all. And now it feels like it's further away than ever. I'm like, I don't know that logistically this made any sense, but here we are. Could have seen the Queen in person. I think technically I've seen the Queen in person, but only we went to see like a performance of Puppet Up at the like Henson lot in Hollywood, and they were selling two puppets. Was one of them Sprinkles? I want to say yes, but that seems wrong. I mean, it certainly wasn't literal Sprinkles because she's been around way longer than the amount of time since that happened. I don't remember. I don't remember. They had like two puppets that were like similar in construction. Don't have any bitey bugs in the UK. That's pretty good. That is one nice thing about California. There are some mosquitoes in California, but they're pretty rare, and they're usually only under like rare circumstances. But like for the most part, and certainly where I have lived in North Hollywood, uh, like bugs were mostly under control. I think it helped that I was on the second floor there, but like I think I had the entire like 10 years I lived in that last apartment, I saw like 4 cockroaches, and like 3 of them were super small, and the one really big one somehow infiltrated my dishwasher from the inside, which was so deeply horrifying that I would not think such a thing could happen again until my parents were looking at houses here in Florida, and my mom was checking the appliances in one of the ones that they were looking to buy, and she just had an interesting look on her face, and then like I sort of gave her a response look of like, what is wrong? And then she said like, there are cockroaches in there or something to that effect. And I was like, what? And she's like, the dishwasher is full of cockroaches. And I went to go look at it, and she made like a stern like, don't look at it, like it would cause sanity damage. And I'm like, if my mom's telling me not to look, I'm gonna trust her on that. But like, also that's insane, and I don't know why that's happening. So yeah, I guess one another fun fact about Florida is if you look at properties in Florida, you will have some adventures. what does what does that mean? What does it mean to be allergic to cockroaches? What like literally like if a cockroach bit you, it will be a problem, or that you shouldn't eat them? Like what does that mean? I can't. I struggle to comprehend how even you would test for that. How do you find that out? Does seem like a great question. Told that cockroaches are very clean creatures and wash themselves a lot whenever they have contact with a human. That's interesting. I can believe that. Is the I mean, I'm not sure what the perceived reason is that they are dirty. Is it just that they are drawn to areas where there's like debris and loose food? Is it more that their presence is a sign of other problems? I don't know. You have dander? That's I can't. Being alive is too complicated. It's like we were talking about with The Good Place, where like in the show The Good Place, they sort of touch on how essentially impossible it is to like lead an ethical life in the modern age because of how many things you have to consider that are beyond your control, and it's just like completely unreasonable. And then there's stuff, and my sister somehow has found every single instance of these things, and my heart goes out to her because I don't have anything meaningful to say to offset this. But like my poor sister somehow finds like every unique thing that's like, can you believe how insane this like unique and nearly impossible interaction with human physiology is? And it's like I can never believe it, and I'm always upset to learn. It's my mom says the dishwasher full of cockroaches was like the gas station bathroom from the Animaniacs potty emergency episode. That house was an infant despite having a three-car an instant no, despite having a three-car garage and being 20 minutes to Walt Disney World. That one was really that close. I really don't have a sense of geography, much like I have no idea what's going on in my own room. um Yeah, I mean, the crazy, if I remember correctly, that apartment was only like 5 years, or that house rather was only like 5 years old. And like, it looked like it was like 20 years old. They did so many weird things to that house. They built a partition into the three-car garage and like painted the walls of the smaller space pink and covered it in stickers. And I mean, there wasn't like, I don't believe that house had any other signs that children lived in it. And I'm like, I mean, it's a strong choice. I have a bookshelf full of plush Pokemon, so like glass house and stones and whatnot. But I mean, it's just my point being, it's indicative of some interesting choices that like don't help the resale value of your house that's not that old and should be in good shape and isn't in good shape. Just gave a garage to their child. They may have given a garage to a child, and the more I think about that, the more concerning it seems. Very I mean, like, best case scenario, sort of a Harry Potter thing. Worst case scenario, like subject of a future cult documentary or serial killer, or take your pick, really. Are the Clefairy and Jigglypuff new? They are. So you probably saw before I left California. This is an older Squirtle, not super old, maybe like a year and a half or something. This full picks I got for my birthday. This coughing I bought for myself after visiting the candy store in Burbank that these come from for the first time, getting this Sandshrew as a gift from my mom, and then being completely unable to stop thinking about the coughing, and I went back and bought him. Obviously Carlos is Clawsome. And then yeah, I really went nuts, didn't I? So this Clipper I also got for my birthday. And then uh the funny story was I was like, when we first went to that store, I was looking at all the Pokemon because they were great, and I wanted all of them, and I wanted to hug every cat. And I really wanted the Sandshrew because it's really hard to find a good Sandshrew. And my mom made note of the fact that the other one that I was looking closely at was Jigglypuff, but because everyone knows how similar these two are in a vacuum, my mom got me Clefairy, and then realized later that it wasn't the one I was originally looking at, so she went back and got me a Jigglypuff, and now I have both of them. So technically, I got this Jigglypuff for my birthday, but it came a little after the fact. And then one of the last like 5 things I did before leaving the state was I went back to the Burbank candy store and I bought Vulpix, Eevee, and I'm really covering this up, Mew, and additionally, I asked them if they would let me pay it forward and buy another Pokemon plush the next time that a kid got one, or if I could like pay for a gift card that they could use on their end to just like do the same concept of just like basically I wanted to give the store money and hopefully give like a gift to a child in the future who maybe couldn't afford these kind of expensive imported Pokemon plushes. I was like, this is a great idea. And like I spoke to like the manager and the cashier, and they were both like confused that I would ask this. And then when they finally like understood what I was asking, they're like, we're kind of a small store and we like don't have like a way to do that. And I'm like, that's fine. It bums me out a little bit, but I tried. I really wanted to do that. But yeah, like I really just wanted them to have my money, but like I couldn't even like the only thing they had that was like a gift card was like a gift certificate they were supposed to like put a person's name on. I'm like, no, I just like kind of want it. I just want you to have my money, and I want someone else to have like a positive experience. That's all. I don't know how to make this clear or make this work. But yeah, these are great. That missing that store is one of the sad things about leaving California. I found it really late because I only detected it when I had to make an appointment to drop off all of my rented equipment with my cable company when I finally dropped cable because of the rent increases that happened earlier this year. So like there's a location for that cable company on a street that I have been to a lot of times in Burbank, which is a place close to North Hollywood. And the way the store is positioned is it has a storefront that's like angled, not facing the road. But like when I like left that store, I like walked back on the sidewalk and like saw it, and there was like a giant Squirtle, which I now also own. That I got that for my birthday. My mom is very good and also an enabler, and I love her very much. But she's really the reason I have any nice things. If you boil it down, she's basically the reason for all of them. Yeah, Toot Child. That would be great. I feel like then I become the subject of some future crime documentary if I possess for any amount of time a gift certificate that says Toot Child. That's great. I should I don't know the exact address off the top of my head. I'll look it up and send it to you. It occurs to me that it will be really hard for me to do that because I don't know the name of the store. It's just a small candy store. It doesn't have like a sign, and the bags that they give you are like clearly just some like fancy like Japanese gift shop style bag that like have a name on them, but I'm fairly certain it is not the name of the business. Oh, that would be good. 2 Pokemon trainer. I still don't think that would work because I don't think that they were inclined to take my money or honor that contract, but that would have been good. I agree with that. But I had some point about something. Oh yeah, I mean, it's a really good store. I like it quite a lot. These guys are very good. I like all of them. It had occurred to me like a week after I first went there that they actually had basically like all of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon as like unevolved Pokemon. And I was like, oh, now I need to possess all of them. I have to catch them all because now I can just do exactly this and just like display my favorite Pokemon from the first game I played, including Mew. Mew is like maybe my favorite all-time legendary. Mew has a very special place in my heart because like Pokemon Blue is the only version I ever bothered to like genuinely complete the Pokedex, and it was so that I could go to, I think it was Toys R Us, to like get the like certificate from Professor Oak that you did it, you caught them all, and then you get a Mew, you get a Mew, you like trade it to your Game Boy version. And I still have that Mew on my Pokemon Blue cartridge, which I like definitely 100% know where it is right now. I'm pretty sure I know where it is, but I don't 100% know because I don't 100% know where anything I own is if I haven't used it in the past 6 days. Mew is great. Also, Mew is accidental. It's a fun story. It is a fun story. This is one of the things I like about Mew is that in Gen 1, it can learn any TM. And I think that's both fun mechanically because Mew and Mewtwo have this whole thing of like unstable DNA is like is part of like core to their backstory or whatever. But like also it's just kind of neat that like any TM, you could teach you anything, even a boat. But then when Mew is like gifted to you in brilliant diamond shining pearl, I was like, oh yeah, I can teach it any TM. And like, nah, they stopped doing that. I'm like, when did they stop doing that? That was awesome. That was like, it's not like the main thing I like about Mew, but like it's a cool thing about Mew that is particular to Mew that I thought was fun. Made me very upset. The question is, do the save ROMs still have battery? They do. I checked this not long ago. I also bought a device that I think is in that box that I can see from where I'm sitting. That is supposed to be able to attach the cartridge to the computer so that I can copy the save file to the computer, and that would allow me to change the battery either now or in the future when the battery gave out. It is important to me to preserve that Mew, so I spent $50 to buy a thing that I haven't had time to use. Oh, good. My mom has found a Google Maps screenshot of the store. Obviously, my mom knows where it is. She went there to buy several Pokemon for my birthday, which was great. You may recall that I did contract COVID on my birthday. So the fact that my mom had set up a little display of delightful Pokemon, including a very big Squirtle, to watch over me while I was recovering and feverish really helped. Just when I was struggling, I would just look over and Squirtle was just like, ah, big hug. Game Boy surgery. Yeah. I am a little bit bummed because after I bought that, I saw like a much nicer one like just came out. Like I think like literally in the past month. At least I heard about it for the first time in the last month, but it looks like way more user friendly than the one I bought, and I may end up buying that one also. All right, so we're like an hour and 15 minutes into streaming and about an hour into this recording. I think I've exhausted the talking about me that comes to mind, which is exciting. Anyone else want to talk about the last month or have any questions about Florida? And or do we want to move on to some game that exists on my computer already? Guessing about the GB operator. No. I don't think I remember. Hang on. I probably have like an email receipt of when I bought this thing. I think it has some like nonsense like letters and random characters or whatever. I think this would take me a while to find because I don't know the name of the thing. When did I buy it? It was probably June plus or minus 6 weeks. That doesn't help all that much, does it? Hmm. Well, it seems like my phone doesn't immediately want to load anything older than the last week of July. So this feels like a fool's errand. I want to say the thing I bought was called the like GBX series of numbers or something like that. But something came out that's like it's a little like the Super Game Boy. If you're familiar with the Super Game Boy, the Super Game Boy was a Super Nintendo cartridge that you plugged into a Super Nintendo, but the top of it was a Game Boy port, so you could put a Game Boy game into the cartridge and then put that in the Super Nintendo and then play your Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo. This was, and I can tell you this from firsthand experience, super rad. So this new thing I saw was a little like that in that it was just sort of like a little dock that you plug a Game Boy game into, and then that connects to the computer and Bob's your uncle or whatever. I mean, in fairness, I can't remember the last time I've tried to just like scroll, like 4 weeks ago of email on my phone without like specifically searching for the thing that I want. I will say that I tried repeatedly today to find an email that my internet service provider sent me giving me a sense of when that cable bearing was going to happen, because like they gave me no notice the guy was coming today, and like literally something like an hour before the appointment I was like feverishly like looking through my email being like, I know they sent me one at some point and I cannot find it. That they somehow recalled the email, because I was just trying to get a sense of like whether the like 13 business days or whatever the top end of that range was had elapsed so I could start complaining to them again. Yes, I think that's it. The GBXRW. That looks familiar. I think that's the one I got. And it looks like I don't know. It looks like something that Doctor Who would use to hack into Al the Observer from Quantum Leap's weird glowing like computer interface. That's what it looks like to me. It doesn't look professional or whatever. You and I are battling 0% on our birthdays this year. Remember, yours was also. Oh yeah, you didn't have on your birthday this past year. You didn't have COVID, but you did get sick, right? I remember Mom like went over to try and like bring you a cake, and she was sad that she couldn't do more for you because that is basically Mom's neutral state. I'm sorry that life is hard. Birthday? Someone did say birthday. Fun fact, I think yesterday is the day that they finally released the Sam and Max Season 3 remaster, which I've been waiting for like, I think like 2 years at this point. Because the other two have been out for ages, and I was like, I want to play through all of them in a row. And like the third one was supposed to come out like sometime last year, and then the entire year lapsed without even an update. And then I forget exactly when, but like early this year, they were like first quarter, and then it released like August 15th. And it was like, all right, so we missed a couple of our milestones. Disability flare and Dave. Oh, that's right. Dave was still gone then. Bedridden and alone. Air pressure changed and jacked up all your joints. Man, that does suck the maximum. I am sorry that happened. I do count myself lucky, though, that most of my birthdays have been above. I used to honestly hate my birthday because when I was a kid, I had very few friends, and I would try to invite them to a really modest birthday celebration. And for like several years in a row, because my birthday is like smack in the middle of the summer and also adjacent to a national holiday that families will plan vacations around, it wasn't always the same two, but always exactly two people would come to my birthday. And like, I don't like large gatherings, but it still felt kind of crummy to have like exactly two people acknowledge your birthday. But in recent years, my parents have gone all out and planned like a vacation to Vegas around the 4th of July for similar reasons to the aforementioned. And those have almost all turned out great. This year was a little bit of an exception with COVID taking over roughly half of the trip, but we did manage to do, I would say, like all of the stuff I was most excited to do. So like it still turned out pretty well, and I got a really big Squirtle. So like it wasn't terrible, but obviously I wouldn't have written it out that way. The only other one that was like a similar situation was my 21st, which to me is actually just kind of funny in hindsight, because like, you know, I don't drink. So what was I going to do on my 21st birthday? And the universe is like, I got you, fam. I'll give you something to talk about. And for those not already familiar with the story, I got food poisoning from one of my favorite desserts, which was cheesecake with brownie for a crust that I definitely ate too much of for many years, and then got pretty bad food poisoning on that 21st birthday. But in hindsight, A, funny story, and B, stopped eating so much cheesecake, which definitely was good for me because I don't make good dietary decisions. So, like, you know, it still kind of turned out all right. Yeah, food poisoning from favorite feels bad. That's true. Nicholas says she's never had a birthday party. Used to play them and just invite plushies. I'm sorry, Neko. That sucks. As someone who has dealt with the watered down version of that, I definitely feel you. But you know, also from experience dealing with people, plushes are more reliable and cute. And most of them are more huggable. I don't know if this is just a guy thing, but people really frown on it when I just like randomly go to hug them. But like Jigglypuff, for example, I go to hug Jigglypuff right now and it'd be totally fine. So I don't think I ever got an answer on that question of, do we want to play a game, and if so, what? I mean, I guess that would sort of require me to enumerate what those would be. We got Cobalt Core, which we've been playing recently. It's the space roguelike. We got Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire sequel is coming out soon. I have no idea when. It could be tomorrow. I think it's fall sometime. We got Dwarf Romantic. We got Super Auto Pets. I haven't played in 1,000 years. We got Dicey Dungeons, which technically we never finished, but I think would still have audio settings that wouldn't require me to like do a bunch of troubleshooting. I think that covers most. I mean, we could do like one of those like bonus hard difficulty nonogram puzzles from Murder by Numbers, but I feel like we'd maybe get one puzzle done and have the hard time doing it. Gotta be close to the end of Cobalt Core, maybe. I'm fairly certain it has like, well, I don't know. Like, I think we're still missing like several memories, to be honest. I think it was someone in Discord earlier had already made a vote for Cobalt Core. Man, every time you make the very reasonable abbreviation of Murder by Numbers to MBN, I just my brain immediately assumes you're talking about Mega Man Battle Network, which would still be MMBN, but my brain is just hardwired for that. Because I gotta tell, I absolutely love the garbage anime Mega Man NT Warrior, which is based on the spin-off RPG franchise of Mega Man Battle Network. Those games are pretty hard and yet much easier than Mega Man games, and I am terrible at them, much like I am at Mega Man games. I do wish I was better at Mega Man, but I'm incapable of doing it because I'm so bad that I can't even get better. My mom has effectively abstained in memory of Velox. Some good indie games dropped recently. I don't doubt that, but for the purpose of having the stream actually succeed in some measurable way, I'm not particularly looking to download or calibrate a new thing. I might do that for tomorrow. I'm honestly still skeptical of that, but I might. I got more done today than I figured. Didn't think this would happen. Pretty happy that this has happened. This also wasn't guaranteed, and well, your mileage may vary if it's good or bad. Honestly, considering that I had done none lighting up to like up to like 45 minutes before I started streaming. I feel like this is a pretty good result. Is it great? Absolutely not. Is it reasonably functional? I would say surprisingly yes. Yeah, so it turns out that we have one vote for everything and not two votes for any one thing, which does not enable us to move forward. How we know which things to work out. That's almost true. I'm genuinely not sure what to do about this. I do for non-stream functions and for potential future stream functions want this big return on my desk. I don't know how to cope with the whole it being invisible in frame thing. I had hoped that here I would be able to use green screen, and I will say that I've made some effort to use it today and learn some other things that needed to be worked on. One of them being that I don't actually currently have effective lighting for the green screen, which does want even lighting, which, you know, is a problem, but surprisingly not the most prohibitive one. See previous comment before recording about here's the couch that used to be on stream all the time. It is too big for here. If this couch is in the room, I almost can't even set down the green screen and can't really use it. So that's fun. There's a lot of things to do with the new house. It's mostly all, like, they're good problems to have other than the stinky fart water. That's not a good problem to have. Is it solved on a long enough time frame? Yes. As far as I know, yes. And that's great. I do somehow need to use even more water, and I do need to go get some salt because the system runs on salt and I need to do that. About the lighting, the lamp looks uncomfortably bright. Perhaps a darker shade? I mean, I don't know if it's actually possible to get a darker shade for this old, weird lamp. It has a weird fixture on it. It may be the case that I could find something to drape over it to soften it. I don't think I have that. I don't think I have that now. I think mostly anything that I could put on it would like smother the light entirely, and I mean, we could try turning off the light and see what that looks like. I think it's worse. I mean, it's like, definitely you don't want like a blazing sun hotspot like right in the corner of your stream. This is obvious to me. This did not need to be pointed out if that was the goal. I'm not mad. I did understand that without being told. However, how's streaming at 9 p.m. working? Dude, I don't know. Like, not a single day since I put a bid on this house has felt normal. Not one. A couple have come close and then something weird happened. And there's like a whole lot of other stuff to adjust to. But like, it's fine. It gave me enough time to shower and eat and like watch a thing, which, you know, that's more or less what I tried to do last, you know, on the West Coast schedule. Just a little more comfortable. Gave me a little more time to try and set up the shelf and whatever. Yeah, I don't know. That feels worse. Like, I know it's not great. I don't know. Maybe it's only casting. Nah, I'm a little ghoulish. I'm a touch ghoulish. I don't know. What do you prefer, the hot spot or the ghoul look? I don't have any coasters. I had to throw out all my coasters. I had somehow like basically used them all to the point of destruction by the time I left that apartment. You prefer ghoul? Just for fun. Here's just the central lamplight. I definitely think this is worse. Not by as much as I thought it was. It's got an LED bulb from Govee where you can control the color, tone, and brightness. That could be a fun thing to do. Does that need like a special LED fixture? Wow, you're not focusing, huh? That's probably a function of turning off the softbox. It is unpleasant to look at, but I've mostly framed it so it's out of my direct line of sight. Also, this was so both the green screen, which I can't currently use, but I'm hoping to use, and this light are birthday presents from previous years that did not immediately pan out for use in the old apartment, and potentially doing work here, which is exciting. Stream toys. You have them in normal fixtures, huh? That's interesting. Gobi. Maybe I'll remember that because it's half Eevee. The bulbs that the seller put in the like vanity lights in the bathroom here are all like daylight blue, and that crap drives me crazy. I hate that. I hate bulbs that make daylight blue. The lighting is too strong and too weird and too unnatural. Makes me mad. I accidentally, because I needed to replace some bulbs, I don't know, sometime in the last 6 months at the last apartment. And I accidentally bought a box of like blue daylight bulbs because like the distinguishing mark between them was just like this tiny little box that like I just wasn't looking for because it was very small and I hadn't bought that brand before or whatever. And I like put one in and turned on the light and I was just like furious. So mad. Vasco's vampire confirmed. I mean, that I don't think there was ever any question. So are we on show in chat team ghoul or team glow? Team ghoul or glow? Glow is hotspot. Ghoul is what we're doing now. Ghoul or glow? Making people choose between two alliterative choices never confuses anything and always helps. But I've been saying I'm a vampire for years. I hate light. I'm very light sensitive. I'm not like light sensitive to some like medical degree where like I actually like have medical complications from it, but like man, do not like light. Many of the times I've had contractors of any kind in the house, I have to like deliberately turn on lights for them, and then they're like, "Oh, thank God," and I'm like, David Ghoul. Ghoulish glow. That's not helpful. Ghoul glow. All right. Well, we're already here, and we got two ghouls, so we'll stay ghoul, I guess. I will say, for the record, I think that this is worse. But if the viewing experience is better, that's fine. It's not that big a deal to me. Like I says, I feel like I need sunglasses for your new apartment. Only because I have like one curtain. That's a little bit of an issue that I haven't addressed yet. Yeah, gotta remember to buy that salt. All right. I really don't think I'm gonna make very much progress in Dwarf. I feel like I'll have more to talk about with Cobalt Core. I think that's like doubly true comparing to Murder by Numbers. So since no one else is going to pick, technically I think two people picked Cobalt Core, and also my mom deferred to my judgment. I will pay the rent, which I mean the mortgage, and break the tie. Now the question is, now that my second monitor is a monitor and not a full-size TV, is anything broken? Well, that's interesting. It's not completely outrageous that it's defaulted to small size. I assume that has something to do with changing the aspect ratio of the second monitor. Working on the curtain issue. I am sorry I have caused you so much work. Hey, everyone, hang on. What is this thing called? What's that emote that my mom really likes? Does someone know the name of it? Demolition, you're probably the only person who could know the name of this. I'm gonna see if I can find this. This is not important, but it's important to me. It's not these types. It's this guy. Hello there. Yeah. Anyone who has this one, fire these off for my mom. She's done an insane amount of work. She like unpacked like 95% of the boxes in my apartment or in my house so that I could live in it. And this is at the expense of time she could be spending to do that for her own house. She was just like, oh, I'm just going to come over and unpack your stuff so you can live. And granted, I've had to work full time, so I've had little time to do it, but like she didn't have to do that. And then she's done like a bunch of other stuff. She bought this juice apple. That's pretty good. Yeah, I just want to see how that captures. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, now let's actually focus long enough to find what I need, which is... Why am I... What is this? Oh, it's this one. Okay. Unlock this. Grab the corner. Extend. Is this the right corner for Cobalt Core? Does anyone remember? Does anyone remember how Cobalt Core works? Yeah. Gotta figure out, like, framing and stuff. I also have to figure, like, I definitely want to be able to display plush during the stream. Obviously, this is far from ideal and not, like, a working solution. But, I don't know. Like, my dad was sort of asking what my idea for this room was going to be, and he was assuming that I would still want the couch in the background. The thing about that is that, like, historically, one of the more frustrating things about streaming from the old apartment, that might even be overstating because there's so many problems. But trying to get the camera to like focus or give detail on anything that far back is like super crazy hard. And like, in order for like an entire couch to be visible, it's kind of got to be pretty far back there. I mean, even like, I don't know, the focus has been a little intermittent because it's on auto, but like there are times when like even that shelf back there, which is reasonably close, has been like out of focus. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how to frame it so that like, I don't know what to, I'm not a bad enough dude. Okay. Having several brain farts akin to a stream of methane water. Just trying to click continue on the OBS window, and that's not how that works. Cobalt Core was bottom right, just check. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's unnecessary and very grateful for that. Let's continue. So, I don't think we have any outstanding goals other than to like get all the memories. I was just gonna say I don't think there's a button to show the memories because I think I looked for it and it's like literally the first thing my mouse just gravitated towards. So I need 2 max memories, a parry, a rigs, and 3 dizzy. So I'm gonna nominate dizzy, I guess. We should get a dizzy memory. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna randomize ship. Okay, we got Aries. And then I'm gonna nominate dizzy. Indicate 2 additional crew members you would like, chat. I mean, the shelf's doing all right. I'm definitely covering it because of how the camera is. Even if I wanted to frame it, here's the problem, is that even if I wanted to frame it so, like, you know, the left edge of the frame, like, you know, cut here or something, and then push the shelf out a little bit so you can see both of us at the same time. Can't do that because the couch is over there and runs straight to the wall. Let's go. I'm gonna allow Neko to choose Hat Guy. Demolition, which of those 2 do you prefer between Max and Perry? I mean, part of me is inclined to try and max out Max first because I don't like Max very much. I might actually like Max less than Isaac, which is impressive. Dealer's choice. I mean, dealer's choice is if I'm going for Dizzy, I want Perry because I just want Perry. It's the truth. All right, let's play some Cobalt Core. Let's see. Upgrade 2 random cards to Type B. Gain 3 max haul. Gain a random rare card. Random rare card is the highest variance of punishment to reward, which is fun. Recommending them since once done, you can free up a slot for memory. Well, keep in mind you only get to pick one memory per run. So if I was trying to get one for, what's your name? Dizzy? Yeah. Then that would be the one I get for that run. Let's see if the rare card is good or terrible. Parry. Attack equals damage. Attack damage equals total damage of enemies' cannon attacks. That's a good one. That's a good rare. Hey, Books. What voice did Books have? Hi, Mr. Dizzy. Those crystal shards you carry around all the time. Can I see one? Sure, what for? I just wanted to hold it up against this device. It's called the Geiger counter. Okay, phew, all good. Here's your crystal back. Yay! Alright, so our starting deck consists of... we got our multi-shot, we got our parry, we got lunge. We have unpolished crystal, which gives us the zero-cost shard, which gives us resource to do mage hand among other potential future cards. We got the basics and the basic blocks of block shot and shield surge. Music's still good. For some reason, everything feels louder to me, and I think the reason for that is because I'm not competing in an auditory sense with the terrible air conditioner from Magnolia. Our hand is pretty not good. I think I want to do crystal. Yeah, it didn't really help. I'm just gonna shoot and block. It's so... There's something both so weird and so natural to having two monitors instead of a monitor really far to my left and then an entire, like, 50-something inch screen directly in front of me acting as, like, the main gaming screen for the stream. It's much more sane and normal to do this. Ooh, what are the Marvel Strike Force free payouts today? I don't think I checked those between the reset and now. I'm not doing any damage, so parry is obviously super bad. So I guess I'll just play all of the cards that I can because I can. Why do they have so much health? I mean, I guess they recuperated shield just now, but it just seems rude as all. If I did a lunge... Nah, that'd be dumb. Because then I would shoot nothing and then block one. I think I want, like... Shield Surge multi-shot shot? Multi-shot shot? Can? I've depleted their shield temporarily. Let's Mage Hand and block shot and dodge. Ignore the substance and know there's a ton of icons to tap, click away. Yeah, that's mobile gaming, isn't it? Shifting that much help? I don't want to get too far left just because I'll bump into the wall and maybe the computer, but also I'm just kind of like blocking stuff. Let me, actually, yeah, give me a sec. I'm gonna just have a rolly mat for my new chair, and I think it should be closer to the wall if that this problem sort of addresses itself. Oh, I know, Demolition. It's making me crazy. Oh no, this would have to go under the computer. But the files are in the computer. What if I did this? I'm not sure this is a good idea. It's an idea. So many things in this corner of this room. It is something of a mess. Just put the router above the mat so it doesn't get crushed by the mat. All right. Hey, music's back. Still annoyed at the instant unskipping pop-ups. Yeah, because those were added like not that long ago, right? And so like I got in the habit of like click, 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 get the things, get the daily things. And now it's like click, would you like to buy thing? Click, would you like to buy thing? Now why did this die? You have full battery. You're telling me that you have full battery. Why are you off? That's so weird. Nothing could have told that to turn on. Gone from game to day job to muscle memory. Just don't know. Yeah. Progression gets so tough after like level 85 or something. Gotta pay for the server somehow. I mean, it's fair. Like, do you... I don't think I can reasonably ask if you have data that suggests that that particular pop-up is doing work, but I am curious about it. Sure seems like it's going to be a problem to get hit for 4. I think 4 isn't enough to kill them, so I don't think I parry. I think I dodge, shoot them a bunch of times, and use, like, all my move. Not all of it, but, like, much of it. Another XP boost this weekend. I mean, I'm less concerned about the level progression than I am the, like, training materials progression. It's like the game ramps you really hard into, like, end game matchmaking with stuff like War and Crucible, but doesn't give you the materials to reasonably compete in those arenas. So it causes a lot of frustration of, like, I have teams at a high enough rank that if I could level them all up simultaneously, that I could reasonably compete in these things. Except I don't have the resources to do that. And if I did, the game also disincentivizes me from spending in that fashion. Alliance did a little too well in War. Like, I'm not even sure that's true. I mean, maybe that's true. My impression is that the matchmaking is aggressive. Like, we're not at the highest level, but we're competing against people who feel like their teams are much closer to the highest level than where we're at. Alright, you're trying to shield yourself again. Let's draw a new card that does damage. Wow, sure can't kill you this turn, huh? That's a bummer. So burn through War would have helped folks build more slowly. But, like, the problem with that is, like, a slow burn through War suggests that we would intentionally try to lose. Like, why would the game incentivize you to lose? Like, in my mind, the idea of having a matchmaking system is to pair you with someone who's roughly at your level. Like, even if we overshot by getting lucky some amount, like, shouldn't that have corrected to a point where we're, like, again facing someone roughly on our level? We are in Platinum that no longer rewards the green ISO. I mean, that's true. I mean, I haven't run out of green isotope stuff. Man, I gotta keep... Oh. That worked perfectly. That was a perfect draw. Zircon Zip. This card seems great in theory and terrible in theory. Didn't correct because we kept winning. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't feel like our win rate's that high. It's not 0. I don't feel like it's that high. Crystal Shard in your hand sounds bad. I don't want a whole card for that. Attack for 3 damage. Must have played 4 cards this turn? What is that about? I've never seen that card. I don't think we're doing that. That feels... So, like, Books has all the 0 card stuff that, like, Defect from Slay the Spire has. Not that high anymore. Well, but that goes back to my earlier point of, like, isn't the point of matchmaking to make a match with someone at your level? Like, if you dramatically overshoot, then it should balance out after some amount of time. I'm gonna skip this. Those all sound bad. Question. Boss. Yeah, top row looks pretty good. Ow, my brain! Huh, you all again. An extraplanar being. Neat. What thing do you value most? Healing. Damage. Evasion. Each one of these is completely single use. Use it one time and never again. We don't have a lot of movement. Having like an emergency move out of the way could be good. You can't choose nothing, so I feel like the one I like most is that. I mean, 0 cost 7 damage is great, but I feel like not dying is pretty good. Regular battle. Okay, let's do Lilu multi-shoot. Let's get the crystal out of the way. Ooh, lunge is almost good. No, wait, I can make this good. Toggle cannon makes our exposed cannon on the left. Then we lunge. We're out of the way of their shot, and we hit them. It matches you with people in the same velocity, not the same level. Teams on the same level can be different. I definitely understand what you're saying. I feel like the game doesn't present a nuanced enough feedback on that matchmaking for that to be obvious. This hand is not good. Shield. How much does this do? 2 or 3? This is 3 damage. I mean, I probably have to toggle move and shoot, and then like not spend. Like that feels bad. One, 2 times, that's fine. Can't kill this turn, so I should block. Although all of my options pretty much block. Unless I wanted to get dodge, which I mean I do, but I don't think it's... Yeah, let's hedge a little bit. I like that we're multi-shooting my armor. That's good for me. Cool. Battle's actually going quickly. Flux. Whenever the ship attacks, gain temp shield. That's fun. I don't know that we were built for that. And we have like none cards. Power play. Oh, that's right. This is the one that like gives you permanent damage boost, but also hurts you directly. And extra battery. I mean, if we had already taken one of those like play many cards from books, battery would be good. Maybe the fact that parry is here makes it good. Maybe it's just awful. I don't know. I'd take it and see if I can do something interesting. Jeez. I've kind of grown weary of sports. It's not terrible, but I feel like I encounter it like a ton now, and it's not my favorite. Shooting the enemy is poor form, so multi-shot is shockingly not particularly helpful here. It also means I like can't even realistically... Well, I guess they have the auto dodge, so I could accept the yellow card. Is that worth it? I'm just gonna block. Don't have any shard, huh? I think this is the first time in all of the instances of sports that I've been unable to shoot the ball on my turn. Like, they're just gonna gain ground. I've never seen that happen before. Like, none of this does anything. Does it behoove me to lunge to position for next turn? I don't know. Actually, it does, right? Because they're hitting it for 2, and force matters. The distance it moves is equal to the damage it takes. So it's going to move to where lunge would... Yeah, this is correct. Let's get a crystal. Yeah, let's get Perry out of here. I mean, in fairness, Perry is pretty good here, and we've drawn it again because apparently that was the last card in our deck. So we can shoot for 3 and tank a hit from them, but then I'd have to get over 3. I'm not sure if that's good. I'm gonna try it though, it's narratively interesting. Yeah, see, he gets to cheat and go straight over there, which is kind of shenanigans. Draw something. I'm gonna keep struggling to keep up with the ball, but that's okay. Could have just toggled to not take shield damage, but I don't think that matters. Alright, so they're gonna shoot for 4. And I can't do anything about that. So that'll move 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, lunge seems like the play. None of this does anything. So it seems like every time they actually shoot the ball, their like damage counter is reset, which is a little interesting. Matchmaking systems are super hard. Like, I don't know how people figure out ones that are any good. But, like, they're super important to, like... I mean, I don't know how to categorize it, but, like... PvP games that are, like, also mobile games feel like they especially need that sort of thing. Because, like, mobile games kind of want you to be on as much as possible. So having, like, effective matchmaking feels, like, super essential. Oh, boy. I think I have to take the yellow card. I don't want them to shoot for 4 again. That sounds miserable. Doesn't shoot back, they just dodge, right? I don't know why other sports aren't played with cannons. Oh, I only get the yellow card if I actually hit them. Right. I could have gotten away with that earlier. I don't think this is best, though. So, if we mage hand... Or we should mage hand. And draw... Ugh. I think this is fine, because next turn we'll get a move because we get the free ace for the combat. So as long as we draw any attack, we're fine. We did it. We drew any attack. Wow. What prize do you want? We have a reason to take the ball. I wouldn't say we have a reason to do it. The team's already blocking and has multiple 2 million plus Rooms. Yeah. Like one of the... I know we're like super in the weeds here on... my sister is the... I'm gonna get the exact title wrong here, but she is the director for user experiences for Marvel Strike Force, which is a really cool mobile game that I have shared some thoughts on here and in the past, and I think it's a really exciting, cool game that I don't know. I think there's just like a doldrum space between like the early game and the late game, and like I just don't know how to like get past it. And this is the sort of thing I'm talking about, where Demolition says our opponent in this current event has like multiple 2 million power rooms. It's like, I have invested practically everything I have in one team, and it is at 1.4 million power. So the fact that like people casually have like 2 million power and are our opponents is like, that doesn't feel correct. Director of Experience Design for Marvel Strike Force. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not sure I'm articulating it in the most constructive way, but I do genuinely feel that there is a doldrum space. I don't know how much can be done about that, and I'm not saying it's easy, but, like, I definitely feel like there's something there. You went off at work. I believe that. I definitely believe that you, who genuinely know better than other people most of the time and are not afraid to share your feelings, have had some go-off experiences. I'm gonna take a trophy. Grimoire, give you Crystal Shard at the first turn of every combat. That's not terrible. That's for combat when you lose hull, heal one. That would be fun if we took that other card earlier that hurts us. Let's say I'm gonna take the free Crystal Shard. We might lean into like a zero cost, play many cards thing after all. I don't know. People are working on the big math problem. That's good to know. This guy's got so many cannons. Wish that I could be so gloriously incandescent. Boy, this looks bad. We're gonna take some damages. We might have to... Ooh, you know what? I got 8 cards in our deck, though. That feels like so many cards. How many cards have I taken? Like 2? Why do we have so many cards in our deck? I feel like my best course of action is unpolished crystal, draw into something good, extra battery to play it. Harry would be really good, but statistically we weren't very likely to draw it. No, I definitely don't think it's easy balancing any of that stuff. I mean, there are definitely things in the game that I almost feel like are too generous, but like a lot of that stuff comes early on, and I get why it makes more sense to do it there. It's not even that I think that like giving people access to like a ton of resources random. It's more like my impression, and it's always easier to just like randomly say your feelings than to balance them and make sure they work correctly. But my impression is that like a significant thing that would help the doldrums is some kind of consistently available challenge, perhaps daily, that you can work towards on your own to get specific resources. Not even necessarily like character shards, like the rarity of those is relatively fine, I think. But just like, if you could, through your own strategy and dedication, have a means of reliably getting some amount of those resources. Not like an infinite amount, but like a more reliable quantity of them. That is the thing that I feel like would help. What exactly that looks like, I don't know. Like I said, Vasco, if you want to be so gloriously incandescent, all you have to do is turn the sun lamp on again. You know, that's true. That is pretty incandescent. Yeah, Dark Dimensions, I found that there was like a really harsh, like a rude awakening with Dark Dimensions. Dark Dimensions is a really cool idea. It's like a late game thing where you're like meant to have a mixture of various different teams and get them all up to your highest currently available level and like have them all team up to take down like a massive army. It's a great idea. It's one of the things I like most in the game so far. But the problem is like there's a certain level where like suddenly like they just like vary the types of characters that you need enough that like it's like hopeless to advance that before you hit the next level cap. Like for a while the main thing I was doing was like spending all my resources between like levels. Like for example, it was like one of the early ones is like level 70 or 75 or something like that, and then your next like major power upgrade for those characters is at like, let's say 75 to 80, and like that went on for a while. And then like once I hit like 85, it took so long to get like any number of characters up to level 85 that like I had access to the next highest level of challenge before I even could feasibly do the previous challenge, and that felt like insane to me. Yeah, and then there's like other stuff that wants you to divert resources, and it's tough because like you want to focus on one or the other, and at a certain point they intersect. I mean, it's all, you know, a strategic challenge on some level, but it can be frustrating at times. Before you came in, no one was even thinking about the player journey. Honestly, I can believe that. It's unfortunate, but I can believe that. I'm just playing this on feel. I think if I play Shield Search, I actually don't take actual damage, so it's probably fine to do that. Okay. Toggle cannon. Is this the doubler? Double damage. So we do 8 with parry, huh? We take all our energy, and we would take 1 hull damage. We also only get 1 use of parry because we haven't upgraded it so that it doesn't burn itself up. So we could instead play a safer route. It would block all the damage and still deal 4. I think for the moment that's probably better. Well, we're blocking some damage. Guard me. Parry. What are you at now? 12? So you're telling me that if I could move, I could kill you this turn? But I can't quite do that? I mean, I could ephemeral dodge. That feels wasteful, though. But, like, if I literally had just, like, 1 evade resource, I could just, like, blow this fool up. It's frustrating. I mean, I can lunge, which would have this cannon move and hit him for 2. They'd be threatening 3 damage, which is annoying, and I couldn't do much about that. And the only other thing I could do is... I guess it'd be another 4 damage. I think it's the best option. I mean, I can spend my ephemeral dodge forever, just move into position and parry them for exactly lethal. I'm just not sure it's a good use of the resource. Someday after the upcoming builds, the mystery will become clear. Ooh, I'm excited about the mystery. I don't think that registered. I gotta mess with the audio settings some amount. I want to be able to get up close and be uncomfortable sometimes. Presentation next week. Finally able to represent the idea to move our entire reporting system over to a single sheet instead of 80 docs. That sounds good in theory. You do have to make sure that peons don't have the ability to access the Uber sheet. That's something that happened to the Glass Cannon podcast on a low level. Like at one point they had one communally owned and operated like Google Doc sheet that was tracking like a bunch of communal player information for their TTRPG campaign, and then like someone deleted it and it was a problem. All right, I think I'm gonna lunge Mage Hand, and that I take 1 direct damage, and like dealt like half their hull in damage. Wow. Really not making this easy on me, huh? At least I'm positioned in such a way I, like, basically don't take damage this turn. That makes this a lot more manageable. I do less damage, but it's more manageable. Isn't there, like, an evade in my deck, for goodness sake? Alright. Lilu multi-shot. Done. Dead. Catch is funny and never does what I want. It always instead compromises me in some way. Block shot's pretty solid. It's hard to go wrong with that. It's just like, even more so than other, like, relatively basic attacks, block shot makes me immediately want to get rid of basic shots. Shard and Changer. The first time you play a Crystal Shard, gain a temp shield. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Cockpit lock on. All cockpits take extra damage. Nanofiber. Heal 1 after each combat. Man, keep drawing all these, like, bonus heal things after passing on that super good self-damaging card. I think I'll just take Cockpit. Repaired batteries. Gaining extra energy on the first turn. That could be good. Do I want to remove or upgrade? I don't have a lot of things I necessarily need to upgrade. Battery'd be an okay upgrade. All the block shots are okay upgrades. Honestly, upgrading basic dodge sounds pretty good. More lunge? Updating lunge wouldn't be bad. If we update lunge, we can make it flippable so we can use it to move left if we have to. I mean, upgrading parry is, like, definitely, like, the sexiest one. Both of the upgrades are good. One keeps it in your hand until you need it, and one makes it so you can play it multiple times if you're super crazy ambitious. Thank you for the big boosted Henlo Bear. I'm pretty sure when we look at that on the big screen it still looks tiny, but I appreciate it nonetheless. You can do this now with stock ones. Elaborate. What do you mean by that? Is that not something you could do with, like, the Twitch operated emotes or something? Really? You couldn't? That's interesting. I don't know what to do here. Wait, can you upgrade? No, I scrolled out of the window and then lost my mind a little bit. Can you upgrade this? No, you can't. You, like, literally can't. I don't know if I've ever checked a card you couldn't upgrade. Yeah, there's actually several of these that are... I mean, I love upgrading multi-shot to hit 3 times. It's, like, my favorite thing to do. Can't celebrate with them yet. Wait, isn't this celebrating? What is this action? How did you make it big? Did you have Rita Repulsa's staff? What's the map look like? Got another shop coming up. Chat, what upgrade do you want? Your options are basic dodge, multi-shot, parry. I think those are the... I guess you could do lunge. So basic dodge, which would let us gain evade without spending energy. Lunge, which lets us move while attacking. Multi-shot, which could fire 3 times. Or parry, which then we'd have to decide if we want to play parry many times or parry 1 time very well. I think it might be because it's a moving file, and so it's not supported for the large format. Interesting. Wait, it's only occurring to me now that the purpose of the celebration isn't simply to make the big emote in chat. I genuinely thought that's what it did. It does something on the screen that I'm not seeing because I'm only seeing what I'm sending out to you and not what Twitch is doing. No, I can't. On my end, I don't see anything. Because I'm only seeing what I'm sending out. I'm watching OBS. I don't have confidence in the internet to process a live feed of me, and also I might have to listen to me. Oh, I should, No one cares about this, but... Cobalt Core. Long story short, there's like 40 of them on Twitch. I believe that. I mean, so I see Twitch chat, and I see the emotes get big in Twitch chat, but like, because the thing says on-screen celebration. Does that mean it's supposed to be doing something like on the screen? Yeah, they float bottom up. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen that. Oh man, let me tell you, I've had some ice cream since coming to Florida. You know what Florida has that California didn't? Dairy Queen. Do you know what Vasco likes very much? Dairy Queen. I only went there once though, but when my mom got groceries, she also got one of my favorites, which are the ice cream Mickey bars, which are sort of a lighter version of something they sell at the Disney theme parks, and they're just as good as I remember, even though I haven't had one in a really long time. You have 3 Dairy Queens in a 10-minute drive from your house? That's insane. I still haven't picked anything. I think I'm actually just gonna... I guess I could remove Basic Shot too. There's less decisions to be made if I just remove basic shots. No, I think I want to upgrade basic dodge though. Some sort of mini boss. They have a few weak points. And my parry doesn't do anything on the turn where it's... Wow, this is a terrible draw. This draw is extremely bad. Definitely makes me wish I'd upgraded the launch, let me tell you.
Yikes forever.
Pow. Okay, so she's honestly missed the Yikes forever. I get that. Favorite thing to Dairy Queen it up with? I mean, honestly, I've had so little exposure to it that, like, I've only tried a limited number of things. I think I had an Oreo Blizzard, which was good, but maybe a little much for general use. Like, the smallest Blizzard is, like, 700 calories or something. It's a pretty big commitment. I've gotten the brownie with ice cream on it, which is extremely good. It's also a little indulgent. The last time I went, I just got like basic sundae and got 2 toppings. Cause like they don't do toppings like a lot of traditional ice cream places. Instead they do just like syrups. So they got like a hot fudge and they have peanut butter, and they have a bunch of other ones, but I got both of those and it was amazing. And I'm like, this is all I really need. Like, I know that I want to have the most American dessert with like 4 different desserts blended into it, but like just like peanut butter and chocolate topping on some vanilla ice cream, like that's perfect. It's great. You're like, we're gonna charge you extra, and it was like 90 cents, and I was like, it's worth 90 cents. Ocean says, I missed the Jurassic series of movies. When they released, they do a promo of Dino Bites, mini peanut butter bites, and peanut butter ice cream and Reese's. That sounds good. That does sound good. Can't lie about that. It seems very bad. Boy, unpolished crystal, huh? What are our odds of drawing something I want? Very low? And they have like bonus shield this turn. It's like not anything good to do here. I feel like we're definitely taking 2 damage. Because only not 2 sounds really stupid. I mean, I guess block shot prevents 1 of it. Good, another basic attack. Oh shoot, I wasn't paying attention that they have this stupid ability. I'm taking a bunch of unnecessary damage, like 3. Yeah, good of you to allow me to block on the turn where I don't need to block, per usual. As they have the retaliation, I think the only reasonable thing I can do is like block shot hitting nothing and pass, which sucks unbelievably hard. Straws continue to be not good. Hey, Crit Twitch, thank you for the 57-month resub. How's it going? You missed the extremely long story time about the move. I'm in Florida now. I don't know if you caught any of that stuff at the end of my California time. I sure hope not to die. Well, I got my dodge, which helps a little. So, like, move and shoot and block and hope. Russian says his cousin is a chef at a Michelin restaurant in Chicago, and home makes his own bread and ice cream. It's pretty good. Exactly lethal. If you're okay with answering, why did you choose Florida? Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. I'd say 2 primary reasons. Oh man, look at these options. Acid Cannon and Parry? This game is trying to tempt me. I forgot it could tempt me with things that I want. Why did I choose Florida? Well, to be honest, a really big part of that is my parents. My dad is approaching retirement, and my mom is like semi-retired. I don't think it's quite right to say she's retired, but she's not currently working. It's kind of complicated. But so, you know, that means that they are approaching a point where they're living on a fixed income, and we're looking to find a place where they could set up before it got too difficult to do so, where they could afford to live there. So that was like a major consideration for them. And, you know, there were discussions that, you know, they wanted to have family around so that they weren't alone in that endeavor. And since COVID happened, I've been working remotely, so like I was a good candidate for that. It was only relatively recently that my sister started working remotely, and she has other considerations as well. And my brother's like definitely not in a great position to be like moving right now, and he has, you know, his own family, and those have complications. And by family, I mean, you know, he has 2 kids. So there's that, but also, you know, my parents have been extremely generous and forthcoming in that, like, because they wanted someone to do this, they would be willing to help with some of the innumerable costs of moving cross country. They are significant and not to be underestimated, and they've taken care of really a large percentage of those. But part of that too is that they were willing to let me sort of preemptively dip into potential inheritance so that I could buy into having a house now, which would afford me things like the air conditioning and a dedicated streaming space and an attached garage and things like that are all very exciting. So, you know, the affordability applies both to them and to myself in slightly different ways. But, you know, there was also something of consideration of like they want someone nearby to like help with stuff and just generally be around as they get a little older. and you know, I can sort of accumulate some standing by having equity in my own property. And despite the fact that like I am super useless financially, sort of contribute to my own future in that way. So like I think that mostly answers that question in the self-facing way that you would expect me to. Cotillion, good to see you. Thank you for the 85-month resub. Have one of these. Good, that's still working and you can't see my face. Hype Train 2. We do appear to be at Hype Train 2. Ah, because Critwitch's resub was recent. Hype Train 2. Electric Boogaloo. Now, I don't know why that didn't trigger Demolition, but thank you for the 100 bits, and maybe Twitch will figure its business out. Boy, it doesn't make much sense for me to get another 3-cost card, but the question I pose to you, chat, is which 3-cost card are we taking? Parry or Acid Cannon? We could go full parry and have a Stop Hitting Yourself deck, which is extremely bad against some enemies. Or Acid Cannon, which I think is objectively a worse card, but is funnier and is particularly good against some enemies. Everyone seems to like diversifying with Acid Cannon, and I don't disagree. What else we got? Resonance Fork. Pull your shard to max at the start of combat. I mean, we already have like a thing that gives us shard and a shard card in our deck. I don't think that's it. Jet Thrusters actually sounds pretty good because we have very little evasion. Yeah, I'll go with that. Now, I could heal having taken fully half of my hull damage in the first area, or I could upgrade a card that costs 3 or something. Seems like they've actively made the Twitch app worse since you last used it, which was right before I moved. I believe that easily. I do feel like I used it recently, like sometime this week. And even though I don't use it for too much, I was still like, dang, that feels worse than it used to be. I mean, we still have parry to upgrade. Honestly, you know what? Let's upgrade lunge. Let's be like vaguely pragmatic. I want the flippable one so I can actually move. You know what makes me upset? I haven't used it in a while, so I don't know if they eventually fixed it. I honestly think that the PlayStation 4 app for Twitch was super good. It was a really good experience for like a console app. And then, I don't know, in like 2017 or something, they updated it and it was just hot garbage from then on to the point I stopped using it. I don't know if that was the same infrastructure as like one of the other apps, like if it was comparable to the TV app or something, I don't know. Shard. So I think I've reached a point of progression where like I will always face the expanding crystal ship now, which is kind of interesting. Oh boy, this hand is very bad. I get extra energy. I'm gonna draw into basic attack. Woohoo boy! Woo boy! This bad hand is not getting better. Looks like its physical condition is not so good. Earlier this week, I definitely stayed up too late because I randomly saw someone streaming Pokemon Battle Revolution. I love Pokemon Battle Revolution. If it weren't so logistically difficult to make it interesting to stream, I would stream it a lot. I love Pokemon Battle Revolution. Emotion says, stop using the Twitch mobile app 99% of the time ever since Apple decided my keyboard types weren't accurate enough and filled in words with autocorrect after space words. Does Apple not do that all the time? I feel like Android does that reasonably frequently. Apparently the change is to get you to watch more streamers and thus sub to more of them. I get that impulse, but I feel like there's a fundamental misunderstanding of like how like what I interpret average people use the app. of like, yeah, discoverability is great. Like you could find someone you didn't know about who's like fun to watch and you'll watch them. But like your goal as a viewer on Twitch isn't, I think, typically to just like watch as many people as possible. You tend to gravitate more towards a relatively limited few number of people that like you find some value in watching them, right? Like, is that weird? Am I weird? If you make it crap and drive people away, how does that work? Yeah, that's the short-sighted executive logic that drives, you know, corporate America, at least. Neko says I'm out of sync for her. I mean, as far as I, like, something like that, we may have hit like a processing snag at some point, but I checked it before the stream and it was fine. I haven't had anyone else comment on it. That may be your end. God. Every time I get a bad hand, I like defer to checks. I don't want to think about what I have to do, and then I look back at it, I'm like, right, it's terrible over there. I have some sort of, we got a shimmying dance explosion, man. Thank you for the hype train, everyone. Hooray! Alright, hey, it's like not good. It's like not good over here. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Left one, toggle cannon. This means I'm placing armor where I'm being shot. It also means... Oh, no, this has armor, so I can't actually hit it. And this has been a complete waste of an already bad turn. Very good. Very good, Vasco. Everyone clapped. Which would backport previous levels if you unlocked everything at the current one? I was surprised to recently sort of realize that it doesn't do that, because that feels super obvious to do. Alright, I can parry for 3, which seems bad. Let's gain some dodge, toggle that sweet cannon, and then like mage hand, and then lunge right. We're gonna be here a minute. I need you to understand. Okay. So we got like full shield, huh? So what you're telling me is I could do something stupid this turn and it would be kind of justified? Like I could like move left one and toggle the cannon so I'm blocking 3 damage. And then like acid cannon? This will make it slightly less horrifically long that this battle lasts. Oh, I see. I didn't think that through. Because I destroyed the crystal that was aimed at my cannon, I didn't actually take damage. I was super confused that I had full shield, and this was the amount of damage I came into this fight with. I was like, where did the math go wrong? It was with me. I'm the problem. So I can hit for 7 with parry. And I still have that shield saved up from last turn, which is neat. 7's pretty good. Can I do better than 7? Is this a fight that just constantly escalates damage? I think it is, but not as quickly as some of the others that do that. So this thing doesn't have a cockpit, so it doesn't have a weak spot. Not that that would be super important. Is there a world where, like, using lunge is, like, more effective? Actually, it could be. Because I could do, like, basic shot, and then flip lunge to move left. And then move left and shoot. So I'd, like, clear this. This armored part would go opposite that, and I'd be taking none because I'd be clearing this. Yes, I've cracked the Da Vinci Code. Although, I think doing this means that I can only fire twice. Because I'm hitting 2 things that sort of dissolve when I shoot them. I could, like, divert resources to do 1 damage, but that sounds very bad. Find a way that I'm, like, in frame more naturally. It will involve moving the monitors in some way, I think. I don't know. I gotta do a lot of thinking about the stream setup. This is part of why I wanted to do this, even knowing it's a little rough. Please excuse the crudity of this model. It's shard. Okay. Well, actually, they're not shooting me, so I can toggle and just acid cannon again, which is just hilarious. Like I said, she just checked her Pokewalker and she's walked exactly 6,669 steps. Nice. Was that directed to me, Demolition? How am I feeling right now? I'm feeling mostly good. It's Friday. I don't have to work tomorrow. And I got all these Pokemon. And the stream is happening. Other than the fact that I may have permanently damaged a mouse and some USB ports, it's all coming up daisies. So now they want to, like, shoot me a bunch, which I would rather they not do, to be honest with you. So I think I multi-shot, block shot, cannon toggle, so I'm blocking those. And I take 1 proper shield damage. Yeah, I gotta tell you, it's like emergency maneuver or whatever this thing is called. It's really not working out the way I had hoped that it would. I said, turn, I wish I had that battery in hand. Pritchard says, I feel like once you get it all situated, you'll be far more comfortable during streams all around. I'm inclined to agree. I hope that I am a capable enough person to do that for myself, is to, like, figure out the best way to set that up. What's with the bots? I don't know, man. Did they queue up while I was gone? I don't know, man. Have they been, have you people who've probably been on Twitch a little bit more than I have recently been noticing them elsewhere? Are they just, like, coming at me? I appreciate the vote of confidence, Twitch. I hope that I can manage that. I sort of thought this concept was straightforward, and yet here we are. It definitely feels like, now that I'm, like, thinking about it, this is a build that wants to lean really defensive. Which is good. I think I actually already have some good building blocks for that, although it's, like, long. Honestly, I'm just gonna, like, take 2 shield damage to, like, acid cannon them again, because it's funny. It's just funny to acid them. Oh man, can I draw acid cannon again? They, like, put me right where, like, they can't hit me. Oop, that wasn't what I wanted, but it's fine. Nope, only block cards on this turn where it would be super good to attack. Classic video game. 12 damage, you say? Yeah, that's enough. Quarry's like a thing that gives you shard all the time, which I don't really need. Oh, payback. Let's just, God, we have to get that artifact that makes things that cost 3 give you a refund. We have to take all the stupid bad idea cards. It's too funny not to do it. Also, I don't like the other options, so I'd probably skip if I didn't do that. Ooh, remove 3 cards. That's interesting. That's interesting. Simplicity is not usually like a hot pick, but that's interesting. Permanently gain a max shield on pickup and gain a shield at the start of every... Oh, the one that, like, if you max out shield, it, like, hurts you. Or shield burst. Every time you gain shield, gain a temp shield. That could also be good. Those two are both good. Although we currently only have like 4 cards that properly gain shield. 2 of those I think I'd likely consider for cuts if I took simplicity, which obviously I wouldn't be taking both here, but it indicates that it is a card I'm not attached to, if you understand. I mean, the thing about simplicity is it would make us draw expensive cards more often, which is funnier. It's probably bad, but it's funnier. Let's remove basic shot. And basic shot, is it 2 or 3? I think it's 3, right? Okay, one more. I don't think it's optional. I think you have to do exactly 3. Oh yeah, Henlo there is very good. There's a reason it's like my mom's new favorite. As I called out before. Is it weird that I want to get rid of Mage Hand? I mean, if I do that, my shards literally don't do anything. Actually, does it make more sense to get rid of Unpolished Crystal? Because I have to invest in energy in that for it to cycle? What even is that, Neko? Stir the pot? Oh, it's like someone with like a big spoon and the pot is off screen or whatever. Yeah, Henlo is... I would say that I haven't seen like an outrageous number of animated emotes. It's definitely like the toppest tier of ones I'm aware. Neko describes the emote as a demented-looking chef girl with a ladle. She reminds Neko of herself. I mean, demented seems like a strong word. Also, the implication of stirring the pot, I don't know if that applies to you, but the literal stirring the pot certainly does. Man, our deck is horrible now. How do I make it more funny? Okay, you know what? I think I am going to remove Mage Hand. And the reason I'm going to do that is because it potentially opens the door to us taking some card that requires like a lot of shard usage that we haven't been able to do before, because like we already have like Mage Hand and often like 1 or maybe 2 others. Hey, Super Base, good to see you. How you doing? I'm coming at you live from the East Coast, but the same time frame. We are gonna take some damages, probably. Really do have to get my hands on that thing that refunds you for expensive cards. For now, let's block 2 out of 3 and payback. At least I'm facing a weak spot. Alright, turtle mode. Probably like multi-shot toggle move shield surge? Yeah, that's good, right? I think that's neutral. That's like equal to 0 damage. Demolition, thank you for gifting a sub to Super Base. Thank you. Man, I gotta figure out what to do with the... I'm still kind of enamored with this idea of like some sort of mini D&D prompt adventure, which is what the Vasco Ventures and the die roller button are supposed to do. The lag built in is new. Oh, it's just the first one. I mean, I like the concept, but like I haven't figured out an application that I like. Like part of me wants to figure out some way to have like a sophisticated infrastructure where like I own a website and you can submit things there with like channel points somehow. I have no idea how I'd make this work. His hand is bad. You know, I haven't once used battery for profit. This song in particular from the Cobalt Core soundtrack, it sounds very much like Zero Escape music. And I always think that every time it comes on. So... Okay, hold on. Let's finally use battery. We don't have enough shield in reserve that I want to like stick around for retaliate right now, or whatever it's called. Shut up. So we toggle cannon, and we parry, and then we lunge to the right, and we'll still hit. Is Books working out better for the team? I feel like Books has had a better showing than the first time. If you saw my first run with Books, we got offered like none Books cards, and I'm like, I don't know what this character does. I still kind of have only like a vague sense, but I feel like Books has always like contributed something. This honestly is one of the least effective uses of Books we've had so far. Books being I think our latest character acquisition. I think there's at least one more, and I have no idea who they are or how to get them. Yeah, you probably saw that first run, because like the first one we were all like, yeah, Books! And then like we went through the whole run, and like one of the last like 4 card choices we had like finally had a unique Books card, and it was like not useful because we had already like fully invested in some other strategy, and it was like, thanks for being here, Books, appreciate it. Okay, so probably like toggle move multi-shot, or toggle. I'd still take a whole damage to hit them for like 1. That doesn't seem very good. Once we like build up more defensive cards, the retaliate thing will make more sense probably, I promise, maybe. Oh, that was enough to kill them. I forgot that I would get bonus damage for multiple instances of basic attack off its weak point. Button Mesh is a silly card. I don't really want it. Boost Capacitors is kind of fun. I think I don't want it, because I think the weird thing that I'm doing is like getting cards that cost 3 and cost 1 or less. I don't think I want things that cost 2, because then they, in many cases, will probably like take up the slot of like a more powerful 3-cost card and contribute less. I'm more interested in like leveling up other cards so that they give more defense than they currently do. Like Blockshot can do 3 temp shield, which sounds great. So I think I skip all of these. Like I'm already considering cutting Unpolished Crystal, but for now I definitely don't want another one. What are we looking at here? Oh, the early question marks. Avoid this path that has a good combination of boss and shop. So, there's only one boss on each path. This gives me extra question mark. I think bottom path is most like what I want. Well, thank you, chat. I mean, I'm happy to be streaming again. I've been really nervous about setting the computer up and whether it would be functional. I had packed everything up pretty nicely, but like had intended to put more like padding and protection directly around the computer, especially with like the weird power supply thing I described earlier. And then like when I stopped looking for like 4 seconds, the movers who took everything out of my apartment and onto a truck not only just like swept the box with my stream computer away out of my sight, they also took like peripherals I had stacked on top of the computer because I wanted to keep them close inside of a weird ottoman that I have with storage space in it, and it took me like most of this week to figure that out. Because even when I looked in there, it was buried under other stuff. Did you know we're running an upcycling program? You turn unwanted junk into new unwanted junk. Replace a card with a random rarer card. Replace a card with the same rarity card. Well, we're memeing it pretty hard, so I feel like we have to take up this offer. Do we want to Do we want a rarer card or a same rarity card? I think the card I would get rid of, I would either get rid of... Wait, what even would happen if we tried to replace Ephemeral Dodge? What rarity does this card have? Is it even a viable option? I mean, the problem is, like, it's funny to take a rarer card. I think statistically you're unlikely for the rarer card to do a good thing that you want. But it's probably funnier, right? I mean, just for the science, I feel like we should try to replace with a rarer card, and if we can do Ephemeral Dodge, we should choose that just to see what happens, which will almost definitely either not be an option or be bad. But, I mean, we have to know. You can pick it, which is insane. I genuinely didn't think it would let me do that. If the card belonged to a crewmate, the replacement will as well. What if the card doesn't belong to any category other than iridescent holofoil? Somehow that gave me a rare books card called Perfect Specimen. Gain a non-temp crystal shard. Wait a minute. It's a proper single-use card. So it's just a one-time heal for 2 that gives you a crystal shard that sticks around forever. Honestly, I feel like that is an upgrade. It's not like a huge upgrade, but I do think that's an upgrade. Ceretzo! Okay, hold on. Now, the problem with Ceretzo is that he wants to have an honorable duel because he's a very good little gentleman. But, every time I randomly encounter him, there's something in my strategy that causes problems with having an honorable duel. For one, I do have an artifact that I believe is giving him a weak point, which is unfortunate. Also, the other major consideration is payback. If I play payback, it is possible that he will position himself in such a way that I shoot his weak spot unintentionally. That being said, I accept. Alright. Free shard. Free dodge. Not free shard. Not good draws. Shield surge. Lunge left, I guess. Multi-shot's pretty good here. I wish I had battery this turn so I could also acid cannon. Yeah, I think realistically it would be stupid to do acid cannon this turn, which makes me want to do it more, but I'm not going to. Instead, we're going to block shot twice because I'm not planning on moving out of the way. I guess I could just toggle for free here so I don't take like any damage. It only goes to temp shield. Okay, so payback I do have concerns about. Parry, really bad draw on this particular turn. I think I just payback here. It's not really risky. It's somewhat risky. I could also multi-shot, but then like I do that, all I'm really doing this turn is like 2 damage and gaining 1 block. Payback makes better use of my resources. Boy, I keep drawing battery when I have nothing to do with it. It's a real big bummer. what's funny is like this is a moment where the card I gave up to have perfect specimen would be good. Finally. Striking like a lot of damage. What's like bonus points awkward is that like if the cannon hit me first, my retaliate could potentially destroy the missile. This is rough. So I'm contemplating different movements I could make of like, oh, I just move out of the way of the cannon. But if I say, for the sake of argument, that I move right to, so that I'm not getting hit by this left missile or the cannon, well then my cannon is facing his weak spot, so when this other missile hits me, I retaliate and break the truce, and then he goes full hamster on me. If I toggle my cannon so that I don't shoot that, then I hit nothing, which defeats the purpose of having the payback. I mean, I have like 5 dodge, so I could like really get out of the way, but like it's just embarrassing how bad all my options are, I guess, is the main point. Oh, just have like the saddest turn. Well, he's not doing anything this turn, so I'm just gonna acid. That way, if I have more sad turns, I at least do a little damage. Hey, how rude would it be if I got a lethal hit on him by attacking his weak spot? He can't get mad about it because he'll be dead, but it's sort of you know, it's like a little gray in terms of ethicality, but like what's he gonna do about it? The saddest turn in Saint Satan. Oh boy, what a game. A game Disco Elysium is. Currently at effectively 13 health, so I couldn't do a one-shot this turn. But you understand what I'm saying. So I could move. I could spend like all of my movement to get in a reasonable position to like hit them and retaliate. Most other combinations either break the truce or involve me taking like a large quantity of unnecessary damage, which both seem bad. So I guess I'm gonna do it. I really don't like it, but I'm gonna acid cannon, and then they're gonna hit me for 3, and then I'm gonna retaliate, and then they're gonna take acid damage, and then we're gonna hope that we win next turn, which I don't think we will. Now I could use perfect specimen now to heal. Is it potentially more useful later? I don't know. I mean, it would be nice to have the crystal shard to maybe draw into something, because his hand is pretty bad. Sure, I guess it at least just saves me the trouble of like dealing with this later. Now I just have a crystal shard. And I drew a crystal shard. Look at all that crystal-rific energy. They're Yugi-licious. Yeah, let's do a block shot, I guess. And they take acid damage, and they fire some missiles. And they threaten to kill me. And I cycle a bunch of cards. And I guess I move one and parry. Seems pretty good. Hooray! Hooray for me! Mining drill. I've looked at this before, I think. What does it do? Dual card. Has 2 separate sets of actions. It's an MDFC from Magic the Gathering. You can right-click to toggle between them. So you can do 0 damage and get a shard, which is very bad, because we have a glut of shards and nothing to do with them. Or do 1 damage for 0, which actually isn't terrible. That might be an okay card to take. It wouldn't be great, but it could be okay. And the upgrades... One of the upgrades makes it not cost shards, which is one of the only things that's really appealing about it. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, it's okay. Is sidestep better? We don't have, like, a ton of movement. I made the basic evade card cost 0 so I can use it a little more freely. But it might be good to just, like, have some extra movement for tricky situations. It also, like, sticks to our hands, so it doesn't, like, dilute our draws or whatever. Oh, it's the, like, Quasar fight or whatever. Binary star. Pre-shard. Expensive shard? This thing's pretty armored, huh? It's actually quite annoying. Let's do another damage and then just block as much as humanly possible. Pokewalker update. You have an exploding Munchlax. Elaborate. What's making it explode? I don't think Munchlax can learn explosion. Oh, right. Because of Binary Star, I can't play my expensive cards, of which my deck contains many. Very good. Let's lunge into a surprisingly perfect position, and then block shot, and then be like a little sad. Good, we drew extra battery on the turn where we have default extra energy. A+. Payback block shot is pretty good. Then we can take like everything they are sending at us on the chin and hit them as a result. Extra battery still being quite disappointing. We've used it once in this entire run, and it wasn't like essential then either. Shard, right? Can't play parry. Very good. Don't have battery. Obviously don't have battery. Wow, this all looks pretty not good. Pretty not good. I have a weird idea. Move left. Block shot to get rid of the missile that would hit us. Then toggle. And that will be like damage neutral. So I could either block or multi-shot. I think I'm gonna shoot him. Much like says self-destruct move it can't normally learn. The only other way to get one is move tutor and XD. Yeah, that for some reason that sounds familiar. Like I feel like it can. Like I thought something along those lines were true, but I didn't think like specifically Munchlax could do it even in that case. Let's shard and shard. Okay. So we can toggle. This is kind of funny. Could like move left, acid cannon, lunge, and the lunge would just be to like not take damage. It's just funny enough to work, and not any more or less funny than that. Look at all my delicious shards. Nothing to do with them. I was thinking I had 3 energy, which I don't because binary star. I don't know that that would have changed terribly what I could do here. I mean, I could have block shot twice, which really wouldn't put me in a better position. This would be a really good turn to have battery, which has been true of several turns where I didn't have battery. I think block shot is the best I can do. So I should take 1 damage from some source and then pay back and finish them. I think that's just the best I can do right now. Unfortunately, corrode doesn't happen until like the end of their turn. If it happened at the start of their turn, it would have been fine. Swizzle shift. Move left 2 and then spend shard to get more shard. Oh, you're killing me. Refresh interval. This is already upgraded? No, it's not. So for 1, you get 2 temp shield and a later energy. Wouldn't mind having the 0 cost upgrade. As much as I love multi-shot, I don't think this is a multi-shot B kind of build. I think I'm skipping this. What do we do at the shop? Upgrading payback seems good. Just makes it easier to play. Because like if you're spending 3 energy and getting 3 shield, at least often if you draw it early, they're not threatening that much damage, so you're fine. Revenge drive. The first time you lose hull each turn, gain overdrive. That's fun. We're not really built for that. We've passed a lot of things that would go with that build, but we only had an incentive early on to do that, and then this. Shard? Acid Cannon, I think, is good against Rail Cannon. Rail Cannon's a real SOB. Really dislike this guy. I think I want to, like... This is dumb. I feel like I kind of move left 1, so that I'm facing the weak spot, and then Acid Cannon, and then lunge left. I guess I could have toggled before doing that and done an extra damage and not been a ding-dong. Toggle payback? Toggle payback seems pretty good. Maxes out my shield. He'll draw fewer cards next turn, but like, I wasn't gonna use them effectively anyway. Predictably a bad hand, though. Boy, oh boy. Boy, were those like a particularly bad set of cards to draw. Yikes. Yikes for some duration. Yikes for an indefinite period of time. So, I think I just have another turn of reduced hand size. I hit them back, they corrode, they'll be like close to lethal on phase 1 of 3. Really hate Rail Cannon, it's a really annoying boss. I keep forgetting that like Acid Cannon doesn't exhaust itself like so many similar types of statusy effects. Now, a concern I have is that I don't know if it's gonna reset its acid status when it like reverts into the wall. So there's like 2 lines of play here I think are good. One is multi-shot to clear the missile and hit them, and then like build shield and let them die to corrosion on their turn. Or I could like move and acid cannon so that I can like hit the boss directly and actually apply the status. But if they're gonna lose the status, that's definitely the worst play. But I'm gonna try it, even though I know I'll immediately be punished. Oh, right, that doesn't get rid of the thing that's homing on me. I don't know why I assumed it would, but hey, it didn't get rid of the acid, so I got that going for me. Free move, free draw. Pew, pew. Four damage right now. Seems medium. I think I want a crystal. Boy, these battery draws are heinous. I've almost exclusively, and I really don't think I'm exaggerating, like I almost only ever draw extra battery on a turn where like playing all of my other cards can be done with the amount of energy available to me. Like, it's just been so horrible. With all these expensive cards in my deck, it's so plausible that it could be useful like a moderate amount of the time. But like, my particular draws have just been so abysmal. Like, this hand doesn't do anything, so extra energy doesn't do anything. I mean, I guess I'm supposed to like battery, parry, move, and then lunge to like clear a missile, but that's just pathetic. It's so sad. I guess I don't have to move if I lunge left, so at least that's something. Because that one's not seeking or anything. Oh, I so badly want to acid cannon, and it's like very clearly the wrong thing to do. It's just very not correct. So sidestep only moves right, huh? I was kind of assuming it was flippable for no valid reason. Hey, you know what's funny? That revenge drive thing we got? Does the order of triggers work so that when we get hit, we take the direct damage and then our payback immediately does boosted damage? No, wait. I don't think that's how payback works. I don't think payback factors other statuses. I think it as a status does however much damage you have payback, and other things don't apply. Or subbed as you stepped away. Your non-sub status is never stay with Demolition on the case. Demolition said there's an old real-time strategy game, Sins of a Solar Empire. Very old and made when single-core high-power CPUs were the future instead of multi-threading. It's been updated over the years, and devs have been very open about a second one, which dropped yesterday. It's fun, but really dropped the ball using AI art in their assets. That is disappointing. And a disclaimer that they trained it on their old works, but the end result is so bland and obvious. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly better than just like outright relying on AI that's like trained on other people's work. Like, for artists who use AI to like shortcut their own work, like that I'm fine with if they're training it on like their own skills. You know, like I don't see a reason to be upset about that as much as I'm loath to like just anything with AI. There's something like, whether or not I would appreciate AI, and I will say that like based on the technology available, I'm just, like, generally not super impressed. But like just the fact that like when AI started like becoming like this huge talking point or whatever, it was so strongly pushed by the same types of tech bros who are like really into like NFTs and that garbage. It's just like, oh, see, that's just shorthand for like, I absolutely shouldn't care about this. Yeah, I mean, like, using AI for like just fun, like to make art for like your own fun purposes, I have no problem with that. But like companies trying to like shortcut paying like talented professionals to like do their art, like that obviously is not a thing I'm happy about. But like, yeah, I mean, like if you're just like, I'm me, an individual, and I think it would be funny to have the Hamburglar steal the idol from Indiana Jones. Sure, why not? Like, that doesn't bother me. I'm not trying to make people feel bad if they have like interest in just like messing around with the technology. But like, so many of the uses that are like publicly known are just like clearly unethical. It's like, oh, cool. Good job, everyone. Capitalism, I guess. I do hate rail cannon, it turns out. I mean, I think that realistically, I'm just moving left and doing like all of my one cost actions. Like, it sucks not to use acid cannon, but I think we'll just have a better life. Shard card, draw. So, like, multi-shoot block, lunge for no value. Yeah, that's fine. I don't do any damage. I get hit with a missile that doesn't matter. They die to corrosion. It's because tech bros love the idea of giving AI a prompt and then claiming copyright for whatever the AI generated for them. Like feeling special and owning the results of the skill they don't have. I think that's largely true. I definitely think that I've heard other people sort of convey this thought in a way that's probably more eloquent than I will put it. But, like, I've heard a lot of people suggest things along the lines of, like, these sort of, like, self-important entrepreneurial types are really keen to automate, like, the humanities because there's something they don't understand. And they feel like if they can shortcut the steps of, like, art that are components of things like marketing that are important to more traditional, like, business ideologies, then they can get away with like not spending money on something that they don't deem valuable and reap the benefits. But like to me, and I think to others, that's like the antithesis of how stuff should be done. Is like we should be automating the crappy like business stuff that makes the world function so that we can all like touch grass and finger paint or whatever. Like, I don't want to do more busy work. We're using the technology wrong. Superbase says, one of my recent big projects I did recently, I was doing transition from male to female and took her personal character and did a first-person view of them looking down at their body with a dragon OC. That's really cool. It's meant going and knitting her scale pattern to the image pixel by pixel. Wow, that sounds like a lot of work. And that's like a really cool thing to do. Random note, the current counter to AI is equally unethical. Companies developing code artists can inject into their images to corrupt AI. This is literally how malware works, and they're designing these to function as malware. I mean, it would be hard to argue that that's not like a malicious intent, but at the same time, based on what little I know about the subject, it feels like while those two things are unethical, the countering AI feels slightly less unethical just because most of AI is so like inherently predatory. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a valid point for Twitch that like if there are unintended consequences to taking art without proper credit or compensation, then like I mean, it would be like if I had a fancy decorative sheet cake and I was like, I just want to look at this. It's not food. So to make sure that nobody takes this cake and eats it, I'm going to coat it in poison. And then like someone just came into my house for some reason and ate the cake, and then they're like, whoa, bro, why am I sick? It'd be like, why did you eat the cake you didn't have permission to eat? That's a very relatable and normal human example. So I could gain killing power by hurting myself, which would give me more hurting power. I think I'm skipping though. Meditation. Nope. Daka drum. Ooh, free chip shots. Those are fun. More hull? I don't need more hull. That's quitter talk. These are equal options. When we reach the end of this, I'm gonna call the stream. Just FYI. Whether we die or clear the zone, unclear. Alright, we got ourselves 4 energy. I guess we should crystal, probably. Sidestep, not very useful. It's a little useful. I'm gonna multi-shot the weak spot and then block shot the weak spot and then sidestep. That means that between the temp shield and my armor being over here, I will take none damage. What do I want here? I have all my expensive options. I feel like Payback is the smartest option because it blocks the damage and will retaliate against their weak spot. Harry, I think I would save for later because 4 is not a very big number, although no, this thing has a lot of cannons. It'll probably get scarier. And then Acid Cannon is fun, but I take like unnecessary damage, so let's just Payback. Shard. Battery just constantly paying for itself, let me tell you. Let's do move, toggle, block, multi-shot, shield for later as a treat. After all, why shouldn't I? Shard. Did want to draw a lunge. That's not bad. Dodge. Giving Snoot the scoot. It's true, I am doing that. So if I lunge into position, I take heavy missile on my armor spot. That's actually okay, but then I'm taking 2 from that as well. But since the only other thing I could do is block shot, I would block additional shot. So let's say that I lunged and attacked the weak spot. That would do 2 to them. Then I would take 1, and then I would take 2. That seems fine. I think that's fine. Let me just toggle first because that's important. And then go right, and then block shot. And then I will retaliate twice against them and not take direct damage? Yeah, barely. Okay, great. Cool. Just, okay, well, I mean, I guess I'm glad I already had parry, but... Superbase says, I'm one of a few people skilled enough with some of the more popular models I can fish out if a particular artist was stolen from or not. Same said friend... Bot didn't know her OC by name. She was apparently sourced a lot of two-tone hair and led us to finding out indeed her original images were lifted. She contacted the creator and it straightened it out. Yeah, but like you shouldn't have to like do that. It strikes me that there's like this distinction between like American-based and European websites. It's not one-to-one, but like American websites since the whole like overhaul to like permissions for cookies or whatever. I forget the name for that movement that happened in like 2020 where everyone updated their privacy policy or whatever. But like in America, websites tend to like default you to opting into everything and you have to work really hard to opt out even though the option is technically there. Whereas like European sites are more respectful and they will like assume that you don't want like a bunch of garbage tracking applied to you for none reason. And like you can just generally sort of accept their default. Like the American websites will tend instead, like at the far end of the spectrum, to like choose like 2 colors to distinguish like their toggle that are like unclear which one is like actively opting in or opting out. It's really stupid and it makes me mad like all the time. Most AI gen companies either lie or outsource so many things and just outright steal without permission. It should be illegal. Same with the recent captions in YouTube. Wait, how are those being generated? Wait, what work is AI using to generate that? I assumed it was just like a speech-to-text thing that was garbage or whatever. Company made a deal to scrape... How do you scrape captions? Explain this like I'm stupid, because I am. Someone in the UK would get a pop-up on every single website to ask about cookies, and you have to deselect every stupid cookie. I mean, like I said, it's not all sites, but like, I don't know. It has tended, from my experience, that the ones that will sort of assume that you're like a reasonable person who doesn't want to be spied on are European, whereas the American ones take extra steps to be shady on average. But again, I'm not saying all of either is either way. Ooh, multi-shot. Multi-shot isn't very good with my strategy. Momentum is good with my strategy. I accept. What do I want here? Weird that I have not been compelled to upgrade parry at all ever. The upgrades for acid cannon can make it cheaper or make it do more damage. Honestly, since I never found the like discount for expensive stuff, the slight discount here feels better. Like dealing 4 damage is not great. Momentum can either draw a card or gain more shield for every time it's played. I think the second one is better on average for this deck with payback and whatnot. Demolition says, per my earlier rant question, an investigation by Proof News found some of the wealthiest AI companies in the world have used material from thousands of YouTube videos to train AI. companies did so despite YouTube's rules against harvesting materials from the platform without permission. Found subtitles from 173,000 YouTube videos siphoned from more than 48,000 channels were used by Silicon Valley. Including sales? What the heck is Salesforce doing with captioning information? I don't understand corporate America. We're such a mess. But, like, I'm still a little confused about how that works practically speaking, but I understand the general idea. It just, like, I guess it just correlated the audio from the video to what the caption said from people who did manual caption work and, like, found enough of a correlation to automatically do that. Which, like, again, it feels like there should be uses for AI that, like, just use, like, text-to-speech or something. I don't know. Whatever. Cool. AI is so cool. I'm just gonna take the one that does more shield because I feel like if I can incidentally gain large quantities of shield for one... Well, I don't know. I have a pretty hard shield limit of 4 here. Maybe the one that draws a card is better? Generally, I like Momentum B. Let's try something different. We've been doing a lot of that today. Alright, I'm checking upgrades. I'm not on the upgrade screen. But yeah, I don't think I want any of... No, I don't want any of that. Like, I kind of want to upgrade block shots. Maybe upgrading basic block would be okay, but I don't think that's better than upgrading block shot. And I think upgrading momentum is better. Sidestep can't even be flippable. How did I take this card? I have so many bad draws. More cycling cards are probably good. Momentum giving draw helps cycle into itself. Also a fair point, Super Base. Free dodge, free shard. Seven damage on a weak point is good. I wonder if we can do better. Let's... Block shot's a good draw. Weirdly, I think I want to move left so that I can, like, lunge into weak spot and take minimal damage. If I lunge the other way right now, it takes a reasonable amount of damage. So we do this, we're taking 1, but we also, like, block shot, multi-shot. That's a pretty good first turn. It is a lot of guns. If you... I don't actually recall how familiar you are with this game, Super Base. You can challenge the shopkeeper to a battle if you want, and that boy has some guns, let me tell you. Really gonna need to cycle into something that's not trash. Did not succeed. Task failed successfully. Okay, well I guess we're gonna toggle into block shot on weak spot, and then block and just be mad about drawing battery on these turns every single time. Now there's some missiles as well. I have a lot of missiles. So payback. I'm currently taking 2, and I can gain 2. Yeah, sure. Let's do payback now. This seems like a good turn for it. We won't take direct damage, but we'll get a couple of shots on them. Shard. Shard again. These shards are doing very little. Evo Riggs' earrings are a nice touch. They are. Sidestep lunge to counter that space, and then a 4 move. It's Counter another missile? I don't know. That might be excessive. Not familiar with the game. Team builders are not you. That's fair. There's the main thing I would say I like about this game is the evasion and the tactical element of positioning against the opponent. I can definitely understand that the team element is... It's not as strong in my opinion. I do like it. I don't love it. I kind of find that the class cards are a little more hit or miss than I tend to like for this sort of thing. And so, like, some of the classes I'm just, like, not particularly interested in playing at all, which, like, you know, it's not the best. Like gain 2 shield. Or I could deal 7 damages, which would be 8 if I hit a weak spot. Which is good, but it's not great. Kind of. It does a lot of damage. I could use it to disable one of their temporary shields they're threatening to make. I think I'd rather momentum. Great, acid cannon. Perfect time to draw that. It's interesting. If I stay positioned where I'm at, I could take 2 damage one time, which, you know, it's 2 damage, and then I'd retaliate. If I toggle my cannon and stay where I'm at, then I will take 1 damage 2 times, which is the same total amount of damage, but triggers my payback twice, which is better. So let's toggle and shoot and block. Offset some of that shielding I couldn't disable. God, this extra battery is so criminal. I hate it so much. Why are you so bad, extra battery? Why are you like this? Just the absolute worst. Well, we're getting close to the range where I could maybe kill with, what's it called? Parry. So if I stay positioned where I'm at, we're at a similar situation where I'll take 1 damage 2 times and retaliate against the weak spot. So I don't think I actually want to move. So I guess I momentum to hopefully draw another 1-cost attack, which I failed to do. I don't have battery, so I can't play parry even if I want to, because I can only draw battery when it doesn't do anything. So I'll multi-shot and I guess shield surge? I don't know. Now, if I draw parry again, it will kill them. Unfortunately, it's at the bottom of my deck now. Guess I can extra battery into acid cannon. Does that do something? Feels like those, right? Shield doesn't even do anything. The goggles, they do nothing. Just shoot him. Just shoot him. Zero draw. Draw all 0-cost cards from your discard pile. I mean, it could potentially force battery to do something. It sounds pretty bad. Shield gun. Turn your shield into gun. No, that's not what I'm doing. Thank you, though. Stun Source B. Costs 4. Pretty prohibitive already. Need to have battery on the same draw that I have it. Gives a stun charge. Oh, it gives the status of adding a stun charge every turn. And then does a stun attack right now for 4 damage. 0 draw is like vaguely interesting. Deck will have, in most cases, 2 0-cost shards, sidestep, which is rarely in the discard pile, but is sometimes. Extra battery, and basic dodge. Is it worth a 2-cost card that's also taking up a spot in the deck? That I don't know. I'm inclined to say probably not, but the other cards are both complete dog water. Your deck have enough draw to reasonably put battery and stun together? Absolutely not. Especially not the way I've been drawing battery. I mean, I have a reasonable amount of draw, although, you know, a lot of it is like cantripping zero-cost crystal shards. Which, like, it thins itself out of the deck. It doesn't, you know, because there's not like a set max limit, doesn't really do the same thing. It could potentially be good if I get zero-cost cards. There's only one more zone to go. I mean, I could make, like, basic block cost 0. I don't know that I have any other things that I can make cost 0 that are, like, already in my deck. I think no. It's a reasonable number, but, like... I mean, part of the problem is, like... Let's say for the sake of argument, I even make basic block cost 0 without going out of my way to do it in, like, a prohibitive way. How good is it for me to have all of those cards in my hand? Oh, extra battery doesn't even go to the discard pile, right? Because it exhausts itself? It's one of the only ones that really makes that worthwhile. Because otherwise it's like I can move one exactly to the right. I can get another evasion and another block, or just like cycle into more cards that I won't have like more energy to play after spending 2 energy. Yeah, noticing the battery thing, which I should already have been aware of, I think it makes that a definite skip. Ooh, Ares Cannon version 2, I love that one. And I haven't seen it in a minute. You can make both cannons active or inactive. You can also just like freely toggle which one's active without spending card or energy. It's just too fun not to take Ares Cannon V2. It's a really good artifact. It is later than I wanted it to be. That's fine. Right. I do kind of wish that there was like a lobby to the new areas so that like when you completed an area you could like logically save there, but like, you know, alas, earwax and all that. Well, I'd say this is largely a success, this whole stream. I mean, is it perfect? No. Is the act of streaming imperfectly useful information to hopefully improve the streaming setup over time? Yes. I will say, just to set your expectations, that I think it will take a little while before we can implement some like truly optimal stuff in here. So we may be operating with this or something like it for a little while, which, you know, at least we got some plush. There is a secret Squirtle. So, you know, you can spend some time thinking about that. Mew is down here in the corner too. I really wasn't quite sure what the camera was going to capture. I don't know, we could do more Cobalt Core tomorrow. Since there will be less, like, life recap to do, we could, you know, do Dwarf or something. And you all can let me know when we start up again. Secret Squirtle behind Clefairy. Boy, would that be an impressive feat. That would be like a literal magic trick if I managed that, wouldn't it? Could also see behind the curtain. There ain't no curtain. That's sheer window, my boy. I ain't got no window. I have like one curtain on my like living room window because it's the biggest one. Earlier in the stream, cars were parking there. You could see it happen. All right, let's gather these guesses. Clefairy, Carlos, Lap, Demolition, obviously. Hey, what's this new icon you have, Neko? I didn't pay attention to this. Raging Wolf Helm? Where does this come from? Badge was earned for watching Elden Ring during the initial Shadow of Erdtree expansion launch. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. All right, well, we'll start here because I don't have to get up. I did place Clefairy here during the course of the stream, and I don't think I got up and out of frame after that, so nah, I'm not that good. I'd be pretty pleased if I was. Let's see. Oh, I think you mentioned that, Neko. You left on... you like left on Twitch after some stream, and then they like hosted someone who was like streaming Elden Ring DLC, and then you got that badge. That is fun. Alright, so. Other guesses. Carlos. He's Clawson. Love him. Not Squirtle, but another classic water type Pokemon from Generation 1. Vaporeon. Dave says coffee. I didn't manage to. I didn't have enough time to put something behind everyone, so it's not something behind coughing. There's a couple other hidden ones back there. Covered. I love him so much. He's so doofy. I love coughing. And then yeah. So I guess it's Meta Squirtle. Squirtle behind Squirtle. Yeah, it's so hard to frame that. Nah, no Squirtle back there. And then I think the only other guess I saw. Devolution said laugh, which he always does, which not there. I will say that before I was certain I could get this all set up, I hid a Squirtle where I knew that I could, which was underneath you all along. But there is a more traditionally hidden Squirtle as well. And I will reveal its location is behind Jigglypuff. Look at this floof. Look at the big eyes. It's like an iceberg. There's so much eye down there. Well, thanks everybody for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. It seems like the sync held up, which is good. And I don't know. The impression I have is that the mic settings are pretty good. If one of you is smarter about audio than me, let me know if there's some obvious thing to fix, or if you just think it's like too loud or quiet. But I think it's like pretty close to probably where I want it. Yeah, I know. It's such a shame that like autocorrect doesn't inherently understand Squirtle like the way I do on a spiritual level. No, that's good. I'm so bad at audio that it's reassuring that there was a point at like toward the end of my time streaming from California where I spent like most of a week just trying desperately to like weed out the background noise from the terrible air conditioner. And at a certain point, I put in so much work and watched so many things that gave me so much perspective. I was like, this is literally it. This is actually the best I can do. I don't know that anyone could do better than this unless they had specialized equipment for it. So it was like really disheartening, but also kind of freeing. But then like the second I got in here, I'm like, I'm going to do it all over again. I'm going to start from scratch and with like a more controlled area, like actually make it sound pretty good. Anyway, yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Really grateful for people to come out tonight and listen to some random Florida ramblings. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be streaming again tomorrow. I don't know exactly what that'll look like either. But if you have any thoughts on things you want to ask about or whatever from the missing month of streams, then think about it and let me know. We'll discuss those tomorrow at length. Nico says, I could never even hear the air conditioner. You could. You wouldn't call it the air conditioner. Once I got the nice microphone, I was like filtering really hard, and it was just present enough in the room that there was like a hiss that was always present in my voice. And like if you weren't listening for it, you might just tune it out, but like it was definitely there forever all the time. Oh, tomorrow's the Magic Castle. We'll have fun with that. And hopefully, well, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'll make it to the stream on Sunday because there's so many things to do with the house and I don't always know what I'm doing on the weekend. But Now they're late enough in the day relative to me, I have a better shot of making it. Huh? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully I'll be there. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone coming out. I know it's like relatively short notice because this desk was built earlier this week and the stream wasn't happening until that could be done, and then also the technology was set up. But like, concerned about those USB ports among other things. Problem for another day, perhaps Sunday. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. Until I do, take care of yourselves and remember that you are colossal.